Ready? He's going to the bathroom. Yeah. There he is. Here we go.
Which kind of thing?
You ready?
Which one are they?
He's still on. We're good? Good?
We were babbling on a bunch
All right, good evening, everybody. Welcome to Long Hill Township. Can we please stand for the salute to the flag, please? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk.
In compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act of New Jersey, adequate notice of this meeting, specifically the time, date, and public call and information were included in the meeting that was electronically sent to the Echo Sentinel, Morris Daily Record, and posted on the Township website. The agenda and public handouts for this meeting can be viewed online at www.longhillnj.gov. A public comment period will be held in the order it is listed on the meeting agenda. Committeeman Lavender.
Present.
Committeewoman Riker-Iline.
Present.
Committeeman Berleza.
Present.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia.
Present.
Mayor Dorsey.
Here. All right, first we have a special proclamation. I'm going to bring up Lisa Scanlon on her behalf and the rescue squad hat today, and two of Irene Sackler's daughters. So I'll turn it over to you, Lisa.
Okay. I don't want to keep my back to everybody, so I'll try and do it on the side. Recently, the Long Hill First Aid Squad lost one of our longtime life members, Irene Sachs. Irene was 96 years young, and she's someone who many of us on the squad truly admired. So the mayor agreed to do a proclamation for her, and I just wanted to read the proclamation, and I know two of Irene's daughters are here tonight, along with a lot of friends and family. So here goes. This is from the Office of the Mayor, Township of Long Hill, proclamation. Whereas Irene Sachs dedicated 40 years of service to the Long Hill Township First Aid Squad, selflessly volunteering her time and expertise to protect and care for the community. And whereas Irene Sachs responded to countless medical emergencies at all hours of the day and night, while also serving in multiple leadership roles, including president, captain, and training officer for the Long Hill First Aid Squad, ensuring that the squad operated efficiently and that its members were well prepared to provide exceptional emergency care. And whereas Irene Sachs was a volunteer member of the Morristown Memorial Hospital Mobile Intensive Care Unit since 1972, and whereas Irene Sachs was a founding member of the Long Hill CERT, which stands for Community Emergency Response Team Organization, serving 12 years, and also of the Long Hill MRC, which stands for Medical Reserve Corps, serving 10 years, and whereas her affiliation with the American Red Cross from 1994 to 2016, 22 years as a trainer and also a member of their Disaster Action Team, what they call DAT, led Irene Sachs to deploy 8 times across the country to assist in large-scale disaster relief efforts, including several months in New Orleans aiding victims of Hurricane Katrina. And whereas Irene Sachs' commitment extended beyond national borders, as she also deployed internationally with her husband through the International Executive Service Corps in Ukraine and China, and separately also taught English in Poland, demonstrating a profound dedication to those in need. And whereas Irene Sachs and her unwavering compassion, leadership, and service have left an indelible impact on the Long Hill Township community, the First Aid Squad, and the many volunteers that she trained through Red Cross classes. And whereas, though her passing is a great loss to this community, Her legacy of service, kindness, and dedication will continue to inspire those who follow in her footsteps, including her children, who were always taught the importance of volunteering and service. Therefore, be it proclaimed that on March 12, 2025, the Township Committee of the Township of Long Hill in the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, on behalf of the residents and staff of Long Hill Township, do hereby honor and recognize Irene Sachs for her extraordinary contributions, express our deepest gratitude for her years of selfless service, and extend our heartfelt condolences to her family, friends, and all those whose lives she touched. Be it further resolved that this proclamation shall be entered into the official record as a lasting tribute to the remarkable life and legacy of Irene Sachs. So it's signed by Mayor Dorsey, and I'd like to call up two of her daughters. We have Elaine and Judy here. Elaine also used to be a member of the First Aid Squad and one of our police dispatchers. And I'd like to ask Mayor Dorsey if you can present this to them. Can I get a couple more first aiders up here? I have a good group, come on. Come on.
Thank you. Good job, Lisa. I know that wasn't easy.
Yes,
Good
thank
job,
you.
Lisa. And thank you to all the first aid squad, but especially her daughters for representing for her service. So thank you. And Lisa, you did a good job. Thank you.
All right, let's see. Moving on, we have ordinance, second reading. This is the property maintenance code. What's it, 559-25. We have an open public hearing on the property maintenance code. Is anybody, Scott, is that the one you guys talked about? At the zoning board, the planning board? Or what? Oh, I know. Yes. D, I gotta find it.
It's a separate. It's a separate.
Oh,
Do you want mine?
Yeah.
No, I got it here somewhere. I got a bunch of papers. Oh, there it is. There it is. All right. So boards. Is there anybody? Tom, do you want to say anything on behalf of the planning board on this? Yeah, you're here for, you're authorized to speak on behalf of the planning board.
So regarding the commercial property maintenance?
Yes.
Ordinance?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's a lot, it is, what's the best way? It does not conflict with the master plan. It actually supports the master plan to address these areas where maintenance is not being upkept, especially for those properties that are not being used or underutilized or pretty much vacant. So it is not inconsistent with the master plan.
Did you guys make any significant changes or anything to it?
No, the only thing that I do question is the amount when you're starting to apply penalties. Because if it's just going to be $50, you know, I'll take that hit day in and day out. I make it more substantial, so it forces the property owner to address the situation.
I don't disagree with you, Tom, but we're limited by state law. That's why every section of the code refers to section 1-5, which sets forth the maximum fines we can impose by state law. But it would be up to the judge. The judge can impose, I think it's up to $2,500 now.
And the more pressure we can put on or layer it up, I mean.
Yes.
And it's
I get
also,
the guidelines, and I understand that, but,
and every day is a new violation.
Yes, you can give me, consecutive violations.
yeah.
Is there anybody from the zoning board? No, I know they submitted, things. Yeah.
Back question, how quickly can you issue a second summons?
Next day.
Yeah.
So you can issue
Yeah.
365 summonses in the same year?
If it's a problem property, not just somebody they're trying to get to comply,
Okay,
who's
so-
not a chronic
So
offender.
Tom, Mr. Chairman, I mean, after 1 week, you can get it up to $350, 2 weeks.
Oh, you can get it up to more than that, up to 7, it's up to the municipal court
No, but
judge.
I mean 50.
No, it could be.
After the first offense, you can issue a summons every single day they're in
It could be
violation.
20
Yeah,
It could be,
So it's layering up.
actually, you can get 90 days in jail or 90 days of community service for a violation as well. I mean, like I said, it's limited by
It's
state law.
there.
Yeah,
Okay, gotcha.
thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Anybody from the public have any questions, comments, or concerns regarding the property maintenance code?
We
Seeing
did
none.
run this by Mark Andres too before introduction.
Okay.
And
Oh,
he made a
so
couple
you-
of changes, but he did approve it.
All right, and those who don't know, Mark is the code enforcement officer. So we got input from the zoning board, Deb Kuntz was involved from both boards, planning board, and the zoning coordinator. Anybody on the committee have any questions or comments? So wait, Jack, the fine, I know it's a first offense, is 50, but consecutive offenses, you can go up to 2,500, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so I think the first time, the judge can only fine you up to 50, but if you come back again, then they can start whacking you.
The teeth are there.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true, because I see in some of the towns I work in.
Jackie, are there considerations in here for warnings as we come out of the gate with this?
The code enforcement officer ordinarily will give warnings, except in egregious violations. So I'd rather not put it in there. I
Right.
think it's
Up to his
done as a matter
discretion.
of course.
All right, good.
Yeah, and I've spoken to Mark numerous times on a bunch of topics, and basically, as you know, his goal is compliance, because, as Tom said, you can find somebody $50 and they don't care. But if they fix the property and it looks nice, that's
our
worth not
goal.
fining them $50.
Yeah, but there's not a limit of $50. First,
And that's it's not even on first offense?
No.
It's minimum fine, I think.
no, it doesn't even.
Oh, okay. So either way, the goal is compliance, so some people just might want to pay, but that's the goal. So Mark, as I know from dealing with Mark, he always goes out usually, I can't say always, but it's always a warning first and tries to work it out with people before he even has to get to this
It's
point.
not a fundraiser.
No, it's not a fundraiser, it's compliance.
Municipal
That's
court
right.
judges will often say the fine's 1,000, but if you
suspend it.
fix it within a week or 10 days, then it'll lower it to 300 or something.
That happens. All right. Anybody else have any questions up here? Seeing none, can I have a motion to adopt the ordinance? Oh, anybody online?
If anybody on Zoom would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand now. I don't see anyone, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, so we have a motion to adopt ordinance 559-25.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Committeeman Lavender,
Yes.
Committeewoman Riker Align,
Yes.
Committeeman Veleza,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia.
Yes.
Mayor Dorsey.
Yes. All right, now we have 560-25, second reading, Historic Preservation Advisory. We just amended some of the, language in the,
That they requested.
that they requested. So anybody in the public have any questions or comments regarding the Historic Preservation amendments? Anybody online?
If anybody on Zoom would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand now. I don't see anyone, Mayor.
Thank you. All right, can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 560-25?
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Committeeman Lavender,
Yes.
Committeewoman Riker Align,
Yes.
Committeeman Veleza,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia,
Yes.
Mayor Dorsey.
Yes. I'm going to skip, I know the last two, that's what people are here to talk about, so let's just get rid of this one first. 562-25, that's concerning the Rec Advisory Committee. Again, I believe that was them coming to us asking it to clean up some of the language, correct, Jack?
That's correct.
Okay, so anybody in the public have any questions or comments regarding the changes being made to the Rec Advisory, whatever it is, code?
562, right?
562.
Yes.
Seeing none, Anybody online?
If anybody on Zoom would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand now. I don't see anyone, Mayor.
All right. Can I have a motion to adopt 561-25? Two, sorry. That's, okay, 562-25.
So moved. Second.
Committeeman Lavender,
Yes.
Committeewoman Reichert-Line.
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia.
Yes.
Mayor Dorsey.
Yes, now we get to the fun part of the meeting. 561-25, second reading. It's ordinance establishing the promotional process, basically from sergeant up to chief for the police department. It's open to public hearing. Anybody from the public have any questions, comments, or concerns, please come on up. Detective Garessi.
Mr. Mayor, could maybe Jack explain what exactly the ordinance does?
Sure, yeah, I know we've talked about this, but go ahead, Jack. Hold on, Detective.
Yeah, the ordinance establishes a formal process for promotion to all the superior officer positions.
Can you define superior?
It's sergeant and above.
Okay?
Mike's a little short here, but can you guys all hear me?
Yes. Do you have any, hold on a second. Do you have any, Jackson, anything else?
Basically, it requires written and oral examinations at every step of the way.
Microphone.
No.
I'm sorry. Writ-
That's all right.
Written and oral examinations, psychological and background checks.
And if I remember correctly, not that you have to do what other towns do, but there's a difference between. Thank you. There's civil service, non-civil service, and of course, there's larger towns. Can you describe how it is handled in towns across the state?
Yeah, well, certainly in civil service towns, they have examinations. It's a very formal process. In non-civil service towns, and speaking to our labor counsel, Jonathan Cohen, he said approximately half the towns follow this kind of formal process with written and oral examinations. Others have less formal processes.
And right now, we have a less formal
I
process.
was just gonna say, can we describe what the current process is?
The current process, as I understand it, is that people are promoted on a probationary basis for 6 months, and then if it works out, they're given a permanent position.
And leadership chooses those people for promotion, correct?
That's mine, yes.
Okay. Just-
Let me double check.
For full
Lieutenant
disclosure.
Chambrell, that's accurate, correct? In theory. What's the current, can you just describe what the current, say somebody wanted to be a sergeant, currently,
To some
how's it work?
degree, yes. So our process is if there was an open position for sergeant, we would post the announcement. People would put in their submission if they're interested in that position. All of the sergeants, lieutenants, and any other administrative staff above that, if there was a lieutenant, captain, chief, all would go through a process that consists of a ranking system. I believe there might be 11 there's something around like 10 or 11 criteria. Those criteria are defined. It gives an opportunity for each person to go around the room for each category and give input on what their personal experience is with that person, good or bad. So you might not know what a person that doesn't work with you does, but if it's my officer, I can give a detailed explanation of why they get this number in that particular ranking. So none of it's private. It used to be, I believe, where you just scored your own sheet. Now we collectively, you have to explain your number and why you do that. So you actually get a very accurate opinion at the end of what that ranking should be, who should be top. So it is a good process in that regard, because I might not know as a lieutenant the detail that a sergeant is seeing on the road with that officer, but they're going to know what it takes for that person to become a supervisor just like them.
And what's the process for lieutenant now?
For a lieutenant, same starting process, but the chief and lieutenants, even if there was one outgoing, would participate in that process for the selection.
But basically, it's the same process, just less people in the room.
Correct. And then previously, when there was a chief's process back prior to Chief Mazzio, the outgoing chief would make a recommendation. When Chief Mazzio left, the committee, which some of you were on at the time, had an interview process with a series of questions they asked both candidates, and then they made a decision collectively on who that should be.
Thank you. Does anybody on the dais have any questions for Lieutenant Chambrola while she's up there about the process itself? The current process. All right, thank you, Lieutenant.
Thank
I left out one important fact. Both the oral and written examinations would be conducted by the New Jersey Association of Chiefs of Police.
Okay. Sergeant Detective, go ahead now.
Chris Gressy, Sterling. Before we get started, I just want to take a moment of silence for the Newark detective who recently lost his life in the line of duty. Ladies and gentlemen of the Township Committee and respected members of the public, as mentioned, my name is Christopher Gressy, and I'm the president of the Long Hill Township PBA, otherwise known as Local 322. For those unfamiliar with our membership, we are the local labor union that represents the Long Hill Township Police Department. I stand before all of you today representing the dedicated men and women of this local to respectfully address our concerns regarding Ordinance 561-25, which proposes significant changes to the promotional process within the Long Hill Township Police Department. The existing promotional policy was set forth by former Long Hill Township Police Chief Robert Falzarano during his tenure with this agency, someone whom we all hold in high esteem. This is the same individual who was asked by the Township Committee sitting before me today to draft a detailed 75-page report that was ultimately adopted by resolution. While we appreciate the intent to establish a fair and transparent framework for promotions, we believe as it is currently written, this ordinance overlooks several crucial aspects that will undermine the morale of our officers and the integrity of our promotional process. The proposed promotional procedure, which places significant emphasis on written and oral assessments, raises concerns that the process may become improperly focused on test-taking ability rather than the essential qualities of actual experience, leadership skills, and day-to-day contributions to the department that our members consistently demonstrate. For example, officers who have devoted years of dedication and service to the department, undertaking demanding duties and demonstrating exceptional leadership with no additional monetary compensation, would be placed on equal footing with those whose qualifications may not reflect the same level of commitment or achievement. This imbalance risks devaluing the true merits of our officers and diminishing the integrity of our existing process, a process that has been proven to work for the last couple of decades as I stand before you today and applaud those who have rightfully earned their respective positions. Furthermore, when promotion becomes exam-focused rather than leadership-focused, officers may be less motivated to engage in roles that require proactive decision-making and the ability to mentor and guide their fellow peers. Testing could inadvertently foster a mindset where officers tend to focus more on studying for exams than cultivating the hands-on leadership skills that are vital for higher rankings within law enforcement. The next concern to address is the involvement of an external consulting agency, particularly in this case, the New Jersey State Association of Chiefs of Police. While third-party organizations like this may bring some objective standards to the table, they inherently lack the knowledge of our department's culture, the unique dynamics of our team, and the specific leadership qualities required for our success. The Chiefs Association, though reputable, does not have firsthand insight into our officers' work ethic, mentorship, and their ability to navigate the complex challenges of daily policing within the community that our officers consistently exhibit. These qualities are most appreciated by those who have worked alongside the officers in the field and have a clear understanding of the context in which they operate. Additionally, the current proposal imposes an additional financial burden as officers need to take costly training courses to maintain a competitive and fair standing. These expenses could create a significant financial strain, particularly for those officers whose dedication and potential may not be reflected in their ability to bear such costs. It is unreasonable to expect officers to shoulder this financial obstacle, especially when they have proven their leadership and commitment through years of service. The demand for officers to spend months preparing for these tests intensifies the challenge as it takes them away from their families and responsibilities, disrupting the work-life balance which is vital for their well-being and mental health. In addition to these concerns, the mandatory psychological evaluation required for every level of the promotional process raises serious concerns. While we fully acknowledge the importance of ensuring mental health and competence for leadership roles, the process, as currently outlined, feels intrusive rather than constructive. Specifically, it suggests a lack of confidence in the professionalism and judgment of the officers who have already served the community for years and completed a psychological screening as part of the rigorous hiring process. The subjective nature of these evaluations, coupled with the associated costs and consumption of time for both the officers and this township, may leave officers feeling unfairly scrutinized. The township is also expected to bear these additional costs of hiring external services to conduct these evaluations, which further compounds the financial burden to an already costly promotional process. Generally speaking, police officers' daily actions go unnoticed, as society expects them to operate at an exceptionally high standard. Unfortunately, both the public and the members of this committee remain unaware of the constant challenges and hardship officers face on a daily basis. While we neither seek praise nor recognition, we only ask for the willingness for you to listen to the men and women who put on the uniform each day, knowing that they do so with only the hope of returning home safely to their loved ones. While the goal of creating a more transparent and equitable promotion system is commendable, Ordinance 561-25 as it stands fails to consider the full scope of qualities that make a strong and effective supervisor within this police department. Although this is not the first, the second, or the third time we have expressed our position on this matter, we stand here before you today and urge the township to revisit the consideration of adopting this ordinance. At a minimum, we ask you to table this ordinance tonight and take the time to consider all of the potential ramifications before voting on it. On behalf of our membership, we thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. We remain committed to working collaboratively with the Township Committee to develop a more thoughtful and equitable approach to promotions. We are willing to offer our assistance in any way needed to reach a mutual agreement that not only benefits this agency, the Township Council, and most importantly, the citizens of Long Hill Township, who we proudly serve. Thank you and have a great night.
Thank you, Detective.
Thank you, Detective, for taking up my invitation and bringing that to the public. I appreciate you coming in, and I appreciate all your members coming in. It means a lot to see all of you here. Thank you. We're at the public. Anybody else from the public?
I have a question.
Oh. you
I just have a,
question
que-
for-
I have a question.
for-
This might be really stupid, but just to clarify.
For Detective Grassi?
Yes,
Oh.
it's for all ranks, not just like sergeant or captain or chief. The call out you have, just to clarify, is all ranks, just to make sure I understand.
I believe further conversation to have that is necessary. Yes, it is
Okay.
for all ranks.
Okay, thank you.
Thank
I just want to make sure I understood.
Is that it, Aubrey?
Yeah, thank you.
But, Detective, thank you. If I could impose upon you to come to the mic? It's not that I have a long conversation. I will say this, in the interest of full disclosure, the PBA respectfully reached out to the Township Committee to meet in executive session. My preference would have been to have met in an executive session and have this conversation.
Ours too.
And the majority of the Township Committee did want to do that. and for
Hold
whatever
on a
reason-
second, hold on a second. I can't say that for sure. And the other thing is, no offense to, obviously, you detective or anybody out there, but we don't give special preference to anybody. So whether it be anybody that has an issue or question, it's better to do it in public and everybody can be heard. And then obviously, look, Detective Dressy gave a very good recitation on behalf of the entire membership, which I think the entire public needed to hear.
And
I think the question and answers is good for everybody to hear and understand. We also had Lieutenant Chambrillo tell us what the old process was, which in the back, nobody would have known about except the people in there. But it's important for everybody behind them and on TV to see this. So that's why I'd rather have them here. But
No,
go
and
ahead.
I appreciate where you're coming from, Mr. Mayor. My preference would have been to do it in an executive session, and frankly, I think it should have been by majority vote of the Township Committee and not decided individually. That said, and thank you for educating us. I mean, I think you gave us insights that perhaps we might have missed as we were discussing this. And I think you did acknowledge the intent of the Township Committee is to be objective. We're trying to remove as much subjectivity as can be removed, which may be harmful to the process. But I think you eloquently explained, in the attempt of doing that, we may miss certain things. So, none of us want to do anything that is in any way disrespectful. We just want to continue the longstanding, outstanding performance of the Long Hill Township Police Department, even through some bumps in the road, through no fault of 95% of the department. So personally, I would love to have this conversation. Fine, it's been brought to the public. I don't think there's no harm, no foul. So I'm not trying to disparage the mayor. But I would like to continue this conversation. So we tweak it to where it needs to be tweaked. One thing is true, and correct my math if it's wrong. There are 564 towns in the state of New Jersey. The large towns all do it through the process that we're kind of doing here. We're not a large town. I appreciate that. Civil service towns do it, and about half are non-civil service. And half of the non-civil service towns do what we're suggesting. We're not reinventing the wheel, and half do not. So it's almost evidence that it's not clear what the right way to do it is. So I'd really appreciate the opportunity to work through in a conversation, a dialogue with the PBA, and I can tell from the membership and how they stood and agreed with what you said. They applauded, but by that they agreed with it. So I'd like to hear what the concerns are. I'd like the involvement of the police department, as represented by the PBA, to sit down with us there. And if we come out in agreement, wonderful. If we come out where we're a little bit different, the township committee is going to have to take a vote. But I don't think, personally, I'm at a position where I fully appreciate the objection. Or I don't even say, you didn't come in here and object. You came in and said, there are things we're missing. And frankly, I think you're right. So I would like to continue the dialogue. I don't think there's an urgency here. We'll figure it out.
I mean, the last thing that I will say on behalf of the union is we're trying to eliminate the drama. We're just trying to be police officers and go to work every day. That's stressful enough. None of us want to be here past the time we're supposed to be here. We're taken away from our families more so than not.
That's noted as well.
And
the
I
fact
just
that you're
really
here.
I would really urge you guys to reconsider what you're voting on.
And I think we're like to kind of to build on what both of you are saying, like to eliminate the drama. I think that was the initial intent of standardizing the process, is exactly as you had said, to make it less subjective, more,
The funny thing is, for me,
But it's like we're going at it by.
I wanted.
Get there is two
I
different
wanted
ways, and
the officers and the department to love what we were doing. You clearly do not. So, I mean, you deserve to be treated fairly, and transparently, and so I don't know how it will come out in the end. I do know that I'm personally not ready to vote on this.
I would also say, I know you said like there's no rush. I don't want to rush to do things that aren't correct for the long term. I do personally feel, though, a sense of urgency that we need to land the plane on all things that are pending with the police department as much as possible, as soon as possible, in my opinion. I'm like just saying that to everybody.
My
like,
response
that's
to that is, I think some are more urgent than others, and then not on the agenda tonight. The ones that I think have more urgency to it, we haven't addressed, and we're addressing what I think was what we thought was the low-hanging fruit. Turns out it was not.
I mean, this promotion, this policy does alter people's future. I mean, this is a big deal. This is not something that's just a small little thing. This is something that could change somebody's future. Everyone behind me deserves a shot, and I think that we have a process that works. There's no reason for us to change that. We just need to go back to what works.
Yeah. And I want,
There's so many things going on right now that this is not one that needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
There are so many other areas of concern that are more higher priority.
No, and I want you to know that we, right, this guy I think said it, like we're trying to land the plane, and obviously it's not the way maybe that we should. But I want you guys to know that we are, at least I am, absolutely pushing to resolve all the things that have been brought forth that need to be resolved as quickly as possible in the right way.
Did you go finish? You finish that.
Sorry, no, and Vic was.
Did you write out? You wrote out that thing you just read, right? Can you email me that so I can send it to everybody so we can look at it?
Happily.
Thank you. So you said I'll send it out to the committee. So we have it.
We're
Okay.
perfect. So I think that we're on point. I think the sentiment would probably be to table this, and in between now and the next meeting, our next township committee meeting, have a meeting with the PBA,
Well,
so that we can
discuss
hear and move this process along with their input.
We need to speak to Labor Council too before we do anything.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, but otherwise, yeah, but we can, if they don't want to vote on it tonight, that's fine, we can postpone it.
I'm willing to vote on it, and I would vote no and knock it down. And the reason was, I heard too many disconnects. And I don't like the fact that there's this wall between us, right? We need to be sitting at a table working through this together. There's too many things I heard that we're off on, right? I'm kind of thinking we maybe just vote this down and start over, start from scratch and start in conversation.
Well, then no promotions are going to happen until we figure it out, one way
Yeah,
or
that
another.
might take
We'd
longer.
rather them happen the right way.
Well, we have a
could be
process.
a long time.
We have a process, don't we? Do we have a process for promotion?
That we all thought was, we need to revamp.
That's
well,
the
that-
process.
like
Right
current-
now, yes, as
Right,
Lieutenant
based on,
Chamberlain said.
right, and what,
Okay. We have a process.
I fear if we say no, vote no tonight, and then start the process again, it's gonna take longer
time.
to get where we need to get. I think if we meet, If we
You
table it,
Vic,
and then we
you
meet, that
truly
we-
think you truly think we can tweak this after everything you heard?
I do. I do. To be honest with you, I don't think we're gonna be too far apart and if we meet, to be honest with you.
I do want to make it clear that I don't stand here before you today to tell you that this system doesn't work. It obviously has worked in many different agencies, but a town like Long Hill Township, it's just not it. I mean, there are no other agencies around here that do this policy where it's successful, in my opinion, from my homework. I mean, I do know agencies that do it, but I don't see it too successful. I don't see too many problems here. I don't know why we need to change it.
So you're happy with the current state of the promotion, not promotion process, but the people have been promoted and everything else, you think it's working?
I think it is working.
Thank you.
No, I appreciate it. I understand where Scott's coming. I don't think we're going to work it out before the next meeting, so we'll meet with the PBA. I agree with Scott, it's
We
gonna take a
still
little
can't, we
longer.
still,
I
have
would
to,
not put it
before
on
we,
to the
we
next-
can't agree to meet with the PBA, talk to Labor Council, because some other legal issues that are above all of us.
Fair
Before
enough.
we get into that.
So,
And I would
it
say-
won't be the next meeting, it may be before the next meeting that we meet, and if we think it takes more, more consultation and a collaborative, effort, we can always push it out. As I said, I don't think I thought it was a solution. I'm hearing that it may be a solution, yeah, but maybe in search of a problem that doesn't exist in certain areas. So let's figure out how we can get to where it's fair. All we want is the process to be fair to everybody sitting out there and for the entire department to be happy with whomever is promoted.
We do appreciate you guys trying to work with us on the matter. We don't think that you guys are being standoffish by any means. We just would hope that you guys listen to the information that we're providing, because it is something that we deal with on a daily basis.
Well, anything you have, like I said, what you read tonight, or any other statistics or information you have, please send it to me and I'll distribute it to everybody. We have no problem doing that.
and I would just also recommend, because I think it's important, like, I like all the voices at the table. I would say, yes, PBA and whatever other voices that Labor Council, also thinks should be there. Is it leadership? Is it also the Chiefs Association? I don't know. I'm just saying, I would want to make sure we have all the voices in the room to have a really good conversation about all aspects. I would defer to what Labor Council would say.
All right, so
Thank
I
you,
move-
Detective.
Thank
I
you
move
guys
that we
all for your
table
time.
it. I move that we table it, but I don't think we should take a vote on it. If you guys want to take a vote, that's fine, but I think that we should table this.
When we have to deal with Vic's motion, a motion to table this on the floor, there's a second, then we'll vote on it.
Oh, can we,
that would
I would
be
like
a
to hear
motion.
from Jack what the options are on this.
Well, Vic's motion would be to continue the public hearing until the next meeting. With
Or
no
to a
further
date
notice of
sometime in the
public-
future.
Or maybe a month from now, to give you more time. And like I said, I would speak to Labor Council first to make sure.
And what other options do we have to deal with this
you
today?
could- Well, there are three options. You could vote to adopt it, you could turn it down by vote, or you could do.
Table it. And if we turned it down, then what do we do if it comes up again in the future?
Well, you could always bring up a new ordinance.
Okay. And so, that gets to my point, Vic, is you think this is a tweak. I'm not so sure. I'm more on the line of just vote it down and start from scratch in partnership. That's me. But
Is it like 6 on one, half a dozen on the other, kind of? Like,
no,
if you
it's not.
tweak it,
No, it's not.
is it like making it into, like, I don't know enough of those
I think that we have the same intention. I just, again, I think the fastest way to get there, and accurately, would be to table it, meet, and move forward, rather than scrap it.
No, I disagree with you, but that's fair.
But I think we're close, even though we did.
We both want to do something good.
Yes.
If in fact you
Yeah,
table
it's the same goal.
and it's determined that you can't just tweak it.
You can
always
scrap it
vote
down.
down at that.
Yes.
Okay, fine.
I second Vic's motion.
Yep.
Madam Clerk, this is a
To
motion to
what
table
meeting?
it.
To the next meeting or the following meeting?
Following, please.
I guess the
Right.
following, then we could always move it if we have to.
Okay.
Okay, so the motion is to table this ordinance
To the 20, what, the
until
6th?
Yeah, it's to
No,
go.
no,
not
the
the
next meeting.
26th,
What's the next meeting?
April 9th.
Oh, there's no meeting?
Knowing that we could, in fact.
Oh, all
take
right,
it
so it's April 9th, fine.
Before it ever comes.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
If we're still in dialogue, we can just push it to the 23rd.
Okay, so we're continuing the public hearing until
April
April
9th,
9th.
that's what the
with no
vote's
further
for.
notice of publication.
Correct.
And with direction to Jack to
Consult with
speak
Labor
with
Yes, before we
Labor
do anything
Council.
Yes.
Okay, and Detective, I know you're going to send to the
I'll send
mayor
it to
and
everybody
they'll
when I-
disseminate it. That way there's one point instead of sending it to all of us.
Yeah, like I
think
said,
I have-
the
anything
mayor's
you want
right.
us to consider, send to me and I'll get it out to
And
everybody.
this, my question would be, though, between now and then, are we going to have a special meeting?
I don't know what-
Let's assume that we're told that we can meet and discuss it. Let's assume it. What's the process? We all need to get together.
I think the next meeting should be with the PBA. If that is in fact a special meeting, I'm in favor of it. If it's the Township Committee, I would not be in favor of that. If the special meeting is with the PBA.
Correct.
I
We,
would
no,
support that.
Right.
of course.
In any
That's what we're
event-
looking-
In any event, we're going to have to talk to the Labor Council.
Yes,
first.
before we do
Right.
anything.
Before you do anything.
We can sit here and
yes.
spin our wheels for the next
Why don't
20
we leave
minutes.
it
I don't know,
there?
but I think what
Fair
Vic
enough.
is saying, and I agree, whatever it is, I would like to move as quickly for what the next steps are to have the conversation with whoever we're
Yes.
approved to have the conversation with per Labor Council. Let's do that sooner versus later.
Right. And whatever-
versus waiting till like the next meeting,
Right.
like let's just please like.
And
move
And where
it
it's
along
all
as
of us
quickly as
meeting
we
with
can.
you
I'll
guys.
reach out to Jonathan in the
Right.
morning.
That's what I want,
what I think
all of
is
us to
right.
meet with you.
Yes.
And
I'll
to
speak to
Matt's
Jonathan.
Thank
point,
you.
to the mayor's point, since we are being transparent, at that meeting, it sounds to me like Labor Council should be there
Yes.
to correct us when we may.
Perfect.
There is a meeting, yes. Yeah,
Okay,
we need Labor Council
So
there.
there's a motion and a second on the
Table
table.
it so you can
Yep.
call a vote on it.
Table to carry the public hearing, second
9th.
reading to April 9th.
Correct.
Jack's gonna consult with Labor Council. There may or may not be a special meeting as well,
Correct.
depending
That's
on
accurate.
Labor Council.
Correct.
So I'm gonna take
Yes.
a roll call vote.
Fine.
Okay. Committeeman Lavender,
Yes.
Committeewoman Riker Line.
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pasurchi.
Yes.
Mayor Dorsey.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Detective,
Thank
and
you.
thank you, officers.
Thank you, guys, and ladies and gentlemen.
561, is that the last one?
No, 560.
What's it, 560? Oh, 63. All right, so the next one is 563. It deals with naming the appropriate authority. It's for the second reading. Anybody from the public have anything to say?
Before that, just from the dais, I think, Jack, Aubrey had made a suggestion that you modify that we reconsider appropriate authority at reorg in January?
Correct,
Yes.
it's on there.
It's on there.
Okay.
It's there.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Aranis is armed and ready.
In fact, I would put it on every reorg, just to revisit it.
Because I think we're also supposed to review policies and procedures every reorg.
Correct. It was on there last time.
Well, I've also suggested a different procedure for reorg going forward.
All right, you're up.
Good evening. Charles Arenowitz, Millington. Let me first thank you for making sure, based upon 2 meetings ago or a meeting ago, that we're going to vote on ordinances when we have a full complement of all members. I think this is a great idea. You set a precedent. Let's keep going. When this, at the first reading, I went over and read from you, from your expert report from former Chief Robert Falzarano on what he recommended to you what to do with the appropriate authority. You, after hiring 2 consultants, have become experts, as demonstrated by the last ordinance, which I'm embarrassed at as a resident of this town. Everybody's backpedaling up here. What a mistake you made. Now you're about to make another one. The appropriate authority, according to Mr. Falzarano, our expert, should not be the township committee. It causes problems on who to report to, who's in charge, and it should be one individual. I believe that individual is the town administrator. There were some comments last time, oh, he might leave. Well, you built the ship, okay? We didn't. So similar to what you did with the last ordinance, I recommend you do the same. This issue about, oh, we're going to look at it in 2026 at the reorganization meeting again, let's not even put it up there. Leave it where it is now and follow the experts. Table this one too and start over. It's embarrassing. I'm embarrassed for you, and I'm embarrassed for this staff here in this agency. Embarrassed. If anybody independently saw this tonight and looked at it, they said, what is going on in this town? So continue with your avenue of ordinances and table this one too. And I don't even think you should table it. Listen to the experts. You're not the experts running the police department. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Liberato.
Good evening, Frank Liberato, Heritage Road. I would echo what my fellow resident, Chuck Arenowitz, had said in regards to Chief Falzarano. And the reason why the police liaison position was removed, the appropriate authority assigned to the administrator. Mayor, if I may ask, how many employees does the township roughly have, 60 or 70?
Randy, what's that? No, I don't think we have 70. About 70. Oh, there you go. 70, you're right.
So in my interpretation as a layperson, you know, Mr. Barr is clearly capable of managing 70 employees. So I don't see why we need to change anything if the recommendations of professionals were to have the administrator be the appropriate authority, as it is in many towns. It removes politics to a certain extent from things and has a direct line of command to the administrator. And then if there is a larger issue, the administrator obviously goes to the committee. And I think with having that business manager here every day running things, and he has the experience in running a large organization of people, staff, employees, which deal with HR issues, that would be the way to go. I mean, without being disrespectful, Mayor, can you explain to me your credentials to oversee the police department in that position with another committee member versus the administrator that sits next to you?
Yeah, I can take a stab at it. As you know, my father was a cop for 20-something years. The last third of it was in administration at Chatham Township, the neighboring town. I was an assistant prosecutor, and I actually was assigned to 3 different police departments I had to go to on a weekly basis. I'm a municipal prosecutor. Our firm does a ton of municipal work, and I deal with police officers all the time, administratively and on doing municipal court and things like that. I probably have the most experience out of everyone sitting up here in that capacity, and I know I'm not qualified to do it. So I don't have the time to do it. I'm not available all the time.
You have a
to do it.
full-time job.
Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah.
So, but I'm just saying is that, do I feel I have credentials? Out of everybody here, I probably have the most credentials, and I'm smart enough to know that I shouldn't be doing it. Just like if somebody asked me the other day, somebody had a question about family law. I said, look, the best advice I can give you is hire an attorney that does it because I don't want to mess it up for you. So I'm smart enough to know when it farms stuff out. So if that's your answer to your question, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but that's my answer.
No, I appreciate your honesty, and I was trying to be respectful because the point is we rely on our professionals, we pay for our professionals, and our police department is great, and I see that your intents may be in the right place as far as trying to tweak things, But sometimes you need to leave things be if they're working good at the moment. And I feel with the changes that were made with Administrator Barr being the appropriate authority, it keeps a kind of a line of separation here and a direct line of command where they report to. And I think it's just a lot cleaner. And Bob Falzarano recommended it. You know, he has the experience, and I would trust his recommendation and stick with it. And you had made that change in that direction, so I'm just kind of concerned why we're backtracking on that and looking to, you know, not say reinvent the wheel, use that kind of term, but, you know, why are we messing with that? And why do we keep messing with other things? I think that we should just leave alone. It's fine right now. I don't see any issue causing the need for a change, and I really hope you take in consideration the turnout of our men and women here, and I would leave this go, and I would just vote it down. There's much bigger issues to worry about right now. Mr. Barr is doing an excellent job. I would just leave it there. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Anybody else from the public?
Think someone's coming.
Drew Fettis, 1 Warren Avenue in Sterling. Good evening. Thanks everyone for being here. I got a couple things to say. I think that I'm not really super familiar with like municipalities, but I thought that like if you want to have like the mayor be the appropriate authority, the system has to be set up different. Like the taxpayers have to elect a mayor.
Oh, like they have in Providence, for example.
Like Berkeley Heights, they changed theirs, right?
I think the Berkeley Heights, what? That the mayor's
The strong mayor, right? So the taxpayers elect the mayor, and then the mayor is the appropriate authority. Otherwise, it would go to the administrator. So I think that I like that way. I think it works good. I think the administrator's good. I think you have probably the best credentials out of everybody here, but you're not always going to be the mayor. You know, so it's nothing against you. It's that, you know, who knows who's going to be the next mayor and what's their credentials and background and everything else. So that's my opinion on that, and I think that it works. I think we got a great group of guys and ladies here. I think out of the last, 20 years, this has got to be the best group of people. I mean, really. And I think as far as the promotion process goes, I think having a test is tough because not everybody tests well. You know, they could be a good leader, and most of those leaders aren't good test takers. So, like, if you're just going by test alone, you might not get the right person. And we all know a lot of people that can test well and don't have common sense. And we need common sense. The cops have common sense because they're dealing with tough situations, flooding, you know, a lot of stressful situations. And if you don't have common sense, that's where anything falls apart. So I think you really need to consider that in, you know, your future discussions and whatever. That's my piece.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can I add, like, maybe we didn't do a good job explaining this, or maybe I don't understand, but in the promotion process from the Chiefs Association. No, sorry. Well, I was talking about that because the test is a big thing, and I totally get it because I'm not a great standardized test taker, so I respectfully understand that piece of it. However, what we're saying in this process, just to clarify, and again, maybe we didn't do a good job explaining this, the process it's not only the test that determines the next steps. There are several other, and we can outline what those are. I probably have it in my notes actually, but there are several other factors that you guys correct me if I'm wrong. There's several other factors that go into that test. Not saying that we don't reevaluate it. I just want to be clear that some of the rationale getting to that point was that it was test and interview and years of service and performance and psychological and all the other criteria. So I just also want to help clarify that. Again, I'm not saying that I, agree or disagree. I'm just saying to understand the process. If maybe that's applied to some ranks and not others, I don't know. But it wasn't only the test, because I too I'm not comfortable as that being the sole reason or rationale to promote. So I just want to clarify that. Maybe we didn't do a good job explaining that as part of the process. We're still going forth how we're going forth. I just wanted to, because when you were saying that, I'm like, oh yeah, maybe we didn't really explain it. It's that there's several factors that go into that.
And to your point, if we involve the State Police Chiefs Association, everything you just described and more would go into it. They would come back with a recommendation of 3, the rule of 3, I think it's called, whatever it's called. and then the township committee, the elected body.
Can we get this back on track?
Thank
We're
you.
not talking about
Thank you.
Sorry. I take ownership, that was my fault.
But anyway,
We're on the
that's not
appropriate
what we're-
authority now.
Just because it came up again, that's why I just wanted to clarify that.
I have a question for Jack.
I did, sorry.
Please.
Question for Jack.
So Jack, can you bring up the state statute 48, blah, blah, blah?
Yep, give me 1 second.
Please read it
Yep, it's very broad.
and use your mic, because
Yes.
people online want to hear you.
Sorry about that. Give me 1 sec to get online here. Texas.
Who's nobody on? They can still watch on TV. Hey now. While Jack's points up, anybody else have anything in the public for now? Drew, you're allowed to sit down, you know.
As used in this section, appropriate authority means the mayor, manager, or such other appropriate executive or administrative officer, such as a full-time director of public safety, or the governing body, or any designated committee or member thereof, or any municipal board or commission established by ordinance for such purposes, as shall be provided by ordinance in a manner consistent with the degree of separation of executive and administrative powers from the legislative powers provided for in the charter or form of government, either adopted by the municipality or under which the governing body operates.
Now, question for you. Is there anything in that prohibits the appropriate authority from delegating any kind of operational responsibilities to Randy Barr?
No, I just think, Randy, if that were the case, would have to come back to the township committee to do anything.
So
Fine.
essentially, the township committee as appropriate authority reserves the right for those decisions. It can delegate whatever it wants down to Randy, including certain decisions.
Yes, but the township committee would have to adopt the rules and regulations, which would be implemented by the chief. And yes, Randy
Right.
could be your representative.
And if the township committee were smart, when it came to looking at rules and regs for the police, they would engage with someone that had that subject matter expertise to help them with that. Explain it to them.
In
And vote
my
on it.
experience, when governing bodies have been the appropriate authority, they've rubber stamped really the recommendation of the chief or officer in charge.
Which is what this
for
committee
rules
used
and
to do.
regulations.
Correct. Correct. Okay.
Any other public member? I have a question, two questions. One, Detective Gillespie, does the PBA have a position on this at all? You have to come, whether, if you do, yes, if no, you can sit down.
I think it would be a good opportunity to discuss that further during our meeting.
That's, okay, that's your position, okay. That's the PBA's position.
That's the PBA's position.
Thank you, sir. Didn't mean to put you on the spot, but.
No, it's not on the spot. I mean, it's just deeper than that. It's not just a yes or no. We think that Mr. Barr has done a wonderful job. I see pros and cons to both sides, but if it was up to the union, we would leave things status quo.
Which status quo? There is no appropriate.
As
authority.
is.
As is.
Yeah, but it's the public safety directors.
Right now, we don't have one, because there's no public safety.
As it was.
Oh, thank you, okay.
Thank you.
We have Lieutenant Chambrillo. I'm gonna,
As in other words, leave.
Lieutenant, can you come up for a second? I have a similar question for you. Not the position, but as the head of the organization, doesn't matter what your rank is, how does it affect the head of the organization, whether it be you or anybody else for that matter, if it's one person or the committee or however it's set up?
So, I
have to
respect
talk to the
whatever
mic.
you decide, but there are a few things you could consider with regard to this. In working Monday through Friday, 7 to 3, or some type of daytime hours, the administrator works those same hours. The township committee all has full-time jobs and are tasked with those responsibilities for their jobs, it's easier for the operation of the police department to be able to reach out to someone that's working those same hours and is available during that time. To have to try to get two people from the committee together at the same time might not be feasible due to whatever their meetings and responsibilities are with their jobs at that time. Additionally, with vacations and travel, I don't know how you would necessarily always have those two people, the mayor and the deputy mayor, available at the same time as readily as you would have access to the township administrator. You know, I wouldn't be aware of obviously what your schedules are if you go out of the country or you have business trips or you're on vacation. I wouldn't have access to that information. So if I had to, let's just say there was a critical incident at a school or something like that, and I had to make a notification, I don't know how I would have the time and access to be able to do that to two people, or let's just say there was a critically injured officer or something that I had to provide or pass information on. It's not as easy to try to access two people, and then that would have to disseminate out to 5 as opposed to trying to access the administrator with the same schedule. that we
Lieutenant,
work.
can I interrupt you? So the role of the appropriate authority is to decide on policy and procedure. Those situations I really don't see as things that would need our input.
Additionally, there are, with accreditation, a lot of the policies have to be regulated through, just for the policy part of it, have to be regulated through our contract with Lexipol to meet the accreditation standards for NJSA COP. So,
And those are things that we can delegate to Randy.
right. And then there's at other times where, sometimes we're trying to look to get a conditional offer, something like that, and it would be easier if you were at times able to reach somebody that's working at the time to try and get that person, because, the process has changed a lot from what it was, where you used to maybe have 100 people that were available, that you could select from for a job, and now you're actually fighting other departments for those jobs. So in trying to secure conditional offers and things like that, it's easier to be able to access somebody that can say right away, yes, you can make a conditional offer to that person, as opposed to waiting perhaps for the two people to then talk to the 5 committee members at a meeting, or if there had to be a special meeting, or in the summer when there's only one meeting per month in the summer. I think it's accessibility-wise, it would be easier.
But we're kind of doing that already. We're essentially operating as the appropriate authority. That's the way this committee is
I
operated.
was just providing
Yeah,
some.
no, I understand.
added
It's a good
insights.
dialogue.
What's, you said like a critical incident or emergency situations? Obviously, something of the policy can wait a day or two. But you said something about a critical incident. What's an example of something like that?
Like I said, if there was an incident at school and it had to be reported, there was previously an incident, for example, at Watchung Hills, where everybody was deployed there, and you had to pass that information on so what's happening in your town. I probably would have an easier time being able to access somebody that's
What would
one
happen?
person.
What would happen? I know this hasn't happened here, but let's say there was a domestic violence episode of one of the officers and it was reported to you. Or somebody showed up under the influence of something, which that hasn't happened in your department, has happened in other towns. What would happen then?
There's some instances, for example, if there was a domestic violence incident and with one of our officers, they would have to be immediately suspended, and their duty weapon would be taken.
But who would you have to report that to?
Well, and I'm just looking at this. We go through the prosecutor's office, but in
Yes,
looking
right.
at this, I don't know if I'm reading the language right or not, where it says that all suspensions have to be approved through a process listed in here. Like, no one can be suspended until until it goes through a process with the township committee?
Oh, that's the
that-
way it's
is
written
that-
now.
Is that, I don't know if I'm interpreting it correctly? This,
Well, yeah, obviously the officer has due process rights, so you can't just say, you can't unilaterally say you're suspended indefinitely. There's
well, no, but they
process.
have, but there are instances where some people have to be immediately suspended.
Okay, thank you.
So, please, I want to keep the conversation going if you're okay with it. So the purpose of the appropriate authority is to create that buffer between the police department and the governing body. And there's a few different ways to do it. What we don't want is to politicize the police, right? And so what we're trying to do is to prevent conversations out of school back and forth between the department and the township committee, right? And so the role of the appropriate authority, that is supposed to be the conduit of information, and people should not be going around the appropriate authority and having personal conversations with the committee here. Human nature being what it is, that's something that we have to create a check and balance against. And so we know that that's happened in the past. And what we're doing right now, what's on the table, is the committee, no pretend, being the appropriate authority, and the mayor and the deputy mayor being the representative, the communication channel of that committee with their term in office. They're not the appropriate authority. They speak on behalf of this group. Right? Now, we can delegate operational responsibilities to Randy to handle any corner case that you can think of. And we can take this year to year and decide every January whether or not it's working or it's a good idea. But I don't think we've really done a good job up here adhering to the spirit and the rules in the New Jersey state statute of how we're supposed to treat the appropriate authority, right? And so this is just one more shot at trying to get this right. Didn't work with the last public safety director we had because not all the channels of communication went through him. So I'm in favor of doing this, and I love Aubrey's idea because it lets us test drive this for the next 7
Like which
months.
one? Okay.
Right? Let's just see how this works. If it doesn't work, fine, we'll change it.
And the other piece that makes me, just to build on that, because I think it does answer some of these questions, and I think, we can do, further clarify any of the issues. It also says appropriate authority and or their designee. So I think in times of emergencies and in times of whatever it is, the day-to-day, because absolutely hear you in terms of, being able to access the entire committee, not realistic. So that's why, to Scott's point that there's two of them, but also and I think we do need to clarify this for you, for the team, for everybody up here, exactly how that chain will go. So everybody feels comfortable and really is clear. But it says the way the verbiage is written in this ordinance is the appropriate authority and or their designee. So I think we can make that really clear how that goes, if there's any questions to that. So when I read this, that, to kind of to Scott's point, that's how we're sort of operating now. And I think it seems that there's opportunity that we can clarify that even more so everyone feels really comfortable and clear. And in no way, shape, or form, I think anyone up here wants a delay in emergency reaction because of voting for something like this. So I just want to clarify that. Emergency action should still be happening, and that shouldn't have to wait for all of us.
This disciplinary section was written by Labor Council, but I think it generally tracks the language of NJSA 48-14-147. I don't think it takes away from the chief or the officer in charge the ability to suspend somebody without pay, in a
Based on the
egregious
situation.
case. But it really deals with major discipline. And in such case, that officer would then have to be charged in writing and go through the process as set forth in section 147. As I said, that language, I haven't cross-referenced it, but it sounds like it tracks the language of section 147. But I don't think it takes away the day-to-day management prerogatives of the chief or officer in charge.
Okay. Thank you for clarifying that, Jeff.
All right, so I got to give my opinion here. There was a time where I thought it was a good idea for the township committee to be the appropriate authority. There was a time. However, based on experience, it proved to be a bad idea, and we changed the ordinance to make the appropriate authority the township administrator, which is, by the way, extremely common, I believe more common in New Jersey than having one of the members of the township committee do it. Now, when making a decision, I love it when things line up. So this is a situation where my past experience tells me it's a bad idea, and then the experts are telling me, Mr. Falzarano and the Police Chiefs Association said, leave it alone and keep the township administrator as the appropriate authority. Additionally, I'm listening to the police department, who we want to take with their consideration, their feelings into consideration. They're telling us that they would like to see Randy stay as the appropriate authority. It's not a situation that's broke. We have a lot of things that we need to address, so I don't know why we're spending so much time on this. So I think we could talk about it forever. I think we need to call a vote and move forward.
Well, does anybody else in the public have any?
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut anybody
go
off.
on. Anybody else in the public have anything to say? Hold on, Tom goes first. You spoke once. Oh, you sure? You're up, Tom. You won.
Tom Jones, Long Hill. First of all, thanks to the LHPD. There'll be brownies there for you, so don't worry. I'm just probably going to oversimplify this and look at it from a corporate world. This looks to me like a matrix management. You have a direct line and a dotted line. You're not a full-time mayor. You're an elected official, but you're not a full-time mayor. You're not a full-time TC, right? So Randy Barr, direct line, handles all your operations. And they still respect your position, dotted matrix line, to you as you are the TC. So don't want to oversimplify it, but that's how I see it. That's how I work today. I got a direct line boss, and then I got 7 other bosses I got to answer to.
Okay, so Tom, to your point, nothing changes.
That's right.
What you just said.
That's right.
The committee sets the rules and regs, and
Yeah.
Randy is still the direct line.
That's right.
Nothing.
He executes it. And that's the way to, and I say that's the way you do it.
No, this is like, what is it?
Just got to vote and get it over the line.
The phrase is two people separated by common language. It's exactly what we're saying. Everything still goes through Randy.
Yeah.
All we're doing is setting the policy. To
Yeah.
Scott's point, and township committee forms of government sometimes can be frustrating. Not just Randy, all previous administrators have always found it frustrating, not just here, in other towns, because they don't know who they're supposed to talk to. So what they shouldn't be doing, when I sit in the middle, and it often was the case, they would always come to me for things that really belong in the purview of the entire township committee. That's why things are slower in committee forms of government, but it works. What we don't want, to what Scott's point is, we don't want whoever the administrator is coming to me if I'm in the middle, or Scott, or Matt, or any of us. It should be a committee form. So the committee sets the policy, and Randy executes it. Nothing's going to change.
But as the mayor, right? The mayor, if you're sitting in the middle seat, is the talking head. So they're going to go to the mayor first. And if the mayor's not available,
That's not really where the authority is.
if the deputy mayor's not available, then they're going to go to someone in the TC, right?
The authority is all 5 people.
Okay.
That's where the authority is. It's frustrating, and that's what leads to.
So again, I'm just oversimplifying.
And that's what leads to conversations like this. For no ill intent of anybody up here, it's just the nature of the beast. What we're trying to remove is any dialogue from any member up here, whether it's me or Matt or anybody, with any member of the police department. It should come from the township committee
As a whole.
through Randy.
Yeah.
Through Randy.
So how does
And I
making
would add, and I wasn't going to go
the
here, but
appropriate authority
Go.
fix that? I'm
I'm
so
gonna go-
sorry.
I'm gonna go-
I don't
no.
understand how that fixes, what,
But
changing
the-
the appropriate authority has
Well-
anything to do with that.
But there's also more of a challenge, and, you know, it's something we've talked about offline. Labor Council has pointed out to us, and we've experienced problems with this. Randy, for all of the good work that he does, Suppley Cooney is who we contracted with.
Well, wait, we've
Not with Randy.
we've
Look,
had this debate. It's, look,
I
Randy is
would-
qualified enough to run a $15+ million budget.
That's not the
He can
question.
be appointed to the position, but the state to be the liaison. It has nothing to do if he's a Supply Cooney employee or not.
But you're
It's the
missing-
position. It's not the person.
Labor Council, you say we want to talk to the experts. Labor Council has advised us it causes complications. You're not supposed to have somebody performing the administrative role permanently, which is what we've done. Randy's done a good job, so why make a change? But in this case, nothing from a policy perspective is going to change. The officer in charge is going to speak with Randy.
And if it's
That's not
above
what this
him, he's going to
says.
go to the, thank you, yes.
That's not what this says. If the officer in charge goes to
So
mayor
motion to
and deputy
vote
mayor.
and get it over the line and be done with it. I
That's the
mean,
point.
it's going to be 80-20 rule, right? You're never going to be perfect. You're never going to eliminate everything, right? So, and if someone's doing something nefarious, well, you know what? It's got to be called out.
Thank you.
That's
And
it.
we're only
My
doing
time's
this
up.
until January, and then we talk about it again.
And then you know
Enough time
what?
to drive the
And then
boat
you can
is-
revisit it and have another
We're not
discussion
moving
and say,
forward
this
with
isn't
the
working, we need to do something, we need to make a change. But it's not a big change. It's a refinement.
Obviously, it hasn't been working the way it was.
Thank
Fair
you,
point.
Mr. Jones.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, my time's up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Minute, you have 90 seconds.
90 seconds. Fast pitch.
Is it a cumulative 3 minutes? Did I miss that memo?
So just so we're clear, since the public safety director is no longer here, Randy Barr currently is the appropriate authority at this moment in
No,
time.
there is none.
That's, so by,
There's none.
there is none right now.
Correct.
So we don't have an alternate option of just making it just him. This is the only resolution that we've come up with and the only solution that has been put on the table.
Yes.
We'd have to do a new ordinance.
And
naming the
to,
administrator.
to Aubrey, if I may address, you weren't part of what's gone on the past 3 years, and you're kind of coming in, the ninth inning. So a lot of this has buried history in it between what happened with prior chief and the prior administrator, but those people are no longer here. The old system worked, administrator being the direct line worked, and unfortunately, the way everything looks is we're spending a lot of time on this, and there's much bigger things. The promotion process, the way it is, should have went forward. The chief has to be chosen. This here is just eating up time and legal bills, and personally, it really looks like it's more of a power issue back and forth. And it may not be the case, but it gives the appearance and the optics we're struggling for power over the police department. And that should be nowhere near here. And I would just think carefully on the vote here on what's best for this department. And I don't think making that change away from Randy Barr is the answer right now. I think you have much bigger things to focus on and not make another mistake.
No, there are lots of bigger things, and I appreciate that recognizing I wasn't here for some of that.
Thank you, Frank.
I think that, again, I just want to move things forward for the police department, and so we don't have to continually have some of these conversations over and over
And over.
and over again. Like, that's my number one goal. And also, my other goal is to neutralize, like, from the standpoint of there's not emotion coming into it, there's not personal relationships coming into it, there's not any of that. It's neutral. It's a, you know, like, it's, that's my mission.
And the administrator is the simplest, most neutral person at the table.
Detective Garessi.
Chris Gressy Sterling. So, I mean, there's apparently a lot of confusion here, even from what I'm seeing in front of me here. So I don't know how you guys could possibly vote on something if there's a lot of debate. I mean, I'm hearing one side that says that someone's appropriate authority, and then someone says someone else isn't. I mean, I kind of echo what I said earlier about how we don't really have a position per se right now, just because we too are confused what the objective here is. We don't know what the advantage of having everybody as a committee is versus just Administrator Barr. We've seen him do it, and we've seen it work, but we don't know what the advantage is of you guys all doing it. So maybe we should start expressing those areas of topic, because I'm just kind of confused as to, I think I stand for everybody when I say I'm confused. I think the community's confused, and I think, quite frankly, you guys are a little confused. So I think maybe some more time to kind of discuss this would be appropriate. I don't know that everybody's in the right frame of mind right now to be making this kind of decision.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Detective.
Anybody online?
If anybody on Zoom would like to make a public comment, please raise your hand now. I don't see anyone, Mayor.
Thank you. Anybody else in the committee have anything you want to say about this?
I'm
Jake,
good.
you have
I'm good,
any-
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Then I'll address it. Kids, close your ears. I'm washing my hands of this shit show. I'm telling you.
How are you going to do that?
What? I'm making a record now and telling you why you're going down the wrong way. MRI report, page 63. This was about 3 or 4 different retired police officers. MRI recommends a township committee restore the oversight authority of the police department to the township administrator. And I remember Brendan said when we did this, oh, he's going to throw that on a shelf like you do with the fire report. Sounds like you guys want to do that. Falzarano report, who Scott described as a super smart guy, page 47. Amend the municipal code to make the appropriate authority designation from the committee to the administrator. The designation will provide a clear line of authority between the police chief or officer in charge and the elected members of the township committee. And then his next recommendation was remove the township committee liaison. Right here, and this is why we paid him to do this. Next. You want 2 people? What if the mayor and deputy mayor don't agree on what they want? Well, then you have to call a public meeting, which is a 48-hour notice, and you have to get everybody. It's like herding cats to have a special meeting, because we've had that, and it's very difficult to do. So if you want to have a special meeting, then you're going to have to herd the cats together, and it's going to take at least 48 hours notice, public session, and everything else. That's number 2. 3, as mentioned by many of the public, I'm not around. We all have full-time jobs, all 5 of us sitting here. The administrator, and I don't care if it's Randy, I don't care who's sitting there. This is their full-time job. The chief of police, officer in charge, that's their full-time job. That's why we hire these people to do these jobs. And I don't know what you guys are listening to when you say we want the committee to stay out of it, but we want the committee to be the appropriate authority. Do you listen to yourselves? It's complete asinine. What else? Here, the police, we have eliminated the police liaison. Basically, this is an unofficial police liaison position. So let's say the officer in charge or chief or captain, whoever it may be, oh, I can't get the mayor, let me call the deputy mayor. I don't like the deputy mayor, let me call the mayor. And then the 2 of us have to confer. If I'm on trial or on vacation, or the deputy mayor happens to be on a trip, I know you have to go overseas sometimes, things aren't going to get done. And then I don't know, and you can't parse it out. You can't say, all right, the committee's only going to handle this, but then the administrator's going to handle that. Then nobody knows what the hell's going on, as Detective Garessi said. We don't know what's going on. There's damage. Look, you want to do this till 2026? That's plenty of time to drive the bus off the cliff, and I'm not going to be on it. I'm telling you that right now. We adopt the MRI report. We adopted the Falzarano report on purpose, intentionally at a public meeting. And we did that on purpose because we wanted this to be part of the official record. And again, we just ignore it. In my job, I have to use experts all the time. And I know, like Vic, for example, his staff is called as experts in courts all the time. Why? Because they know what they're talking about, not us. Bobby Falzarano could be the worst police chief in the world, but he was still a police chief. None of us were. So I would still take their recommendation over what we don't know. The Police Chiefs Association says it should be 1 person, not 10 or 2 you're reporting to, or 5. It doesn't provide a direct line to the committee. Its object was to get the political arm out of the police business, which I think they all want. I know that for sure. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be in your business. As Aubrey said, let's get you guys settled and move on. And just wind the clock up and go.
I need help.
And as Vic correctly pointed out, we've screwed this up numerous times because we don't know what we're doing. And he's right. And everybody out there knows they're right, and everybody on Mercer Street knows that's right. And if you want to start a land war in Russia in the winter, I'm not going with you because I know history. And I'm done now.
So my question
Thank you,
is, my
Mayor.
call out is I actually think some of these things, to the point of I forget who or multiple people that said it, is, in some cases here we're harping on certain things that aren't actually the most important thing to move things forward. My biggest thing with all the votes thus far that I've done is how do we move this forward? So I ask this committee, what are we doing to rectify the situation that's going on at the police department and land the plane? My concern is that we continue to say we're doing that and we continue to stall. So I need help understanding, regardless of this ordinance or anything else, how are we moving forward with all the things that we've said we're going to do with a clear time frame and action in terms of the Chiefs Association for either captain or all of the things. I want a really clear plan. This was part of it to help us move forward with certain things because everything seems to stall. And again, I go back to neutralizing. Right now, I don't feel comfortable that it is a completely neutral entity right now in terms of the way things are going, and I'm open to other ideas, whether it's Randy's appropriate authority or township committee or Megan. That might be a really good suggestion, just putting it out there. You know, like, but things like that, like, I think whatever it is, it needs to be a non-emotional, objective decision-making process that's clear to the people that have to do it, so we can move forward. And maybe this is also part of my learning in the public sector, that things go really slow, and I'm so used to things being done yesterday. So I'm working on that. But we need to figure it out and move forward, because life is too short, I assure you.
So there it is. Ready to vote? Let's do it. Does anyone want to move this?
Do you feel better now?
ordinance?
It's out?
I'm voting the same way. Doesn't matter to me. Does anybody want to move this motion?
Well, I'll just say one thing. If I felt comfortable that nobody sitting on this dais would act as the appropriate authority onto themselves and have private conversations with people on Mercer Street, I would have no problem with being Randy. What we've tried to do, the reason is not about Randy, it's about people continually going around this committee, having conversations with some folks over on Mercer Street. So I have no problem with being the administrator. I have a problem with the process as it has been handled by some members up here, or a member
Including
up
yourself.
here.
Including yourself. But the point is, then you have Randy do it, or the administrator, and you don't have to worry about any of us, because whoever it is there is calling him directly, or the position. They're calling town hall directly, and none of us.
Will
Plain
every
and simple.
committee person on this committee take an oath right now to only have communications with the department through Randy?
I have no problem with that.
Well, you have had a problem.
Oh, and how
in
many
the past.
times you up Mike Peoples' butt for 3 months?
I can say I am the only one that has not had other conversations.
I'm just saying. And if I see Officer Thompson in the parking lot at Central School, I'm not going to ignore him if he says hello to me. It's not happening. Or if I see somebody, I see the men and women all the time on the street. I don't walk away from them. That's rude. They're nice people.
So maybe
And they
I'll
don't come
ask-
up to me and start talking about policy, like, hey, you should change the promotional policy. No, not at all.
So
I saw
maybe-
Declan the other day. I was talking about his brother for a
All
matter
right,
of
when
fact.
you're done with your filibuster, maybe I'll ask Randy this question. Randy, if you're the appropriate authority, how will you control people on the committee from having inappropriate conversations?
I don't know, I wouldn't have any capability of reprimanding any committee person, but I would remind them that it doesn't serve the police department well, it doesn't serve the public well, nor does it serve the township committee well if they are having side conversations about the productivity, policies, procedures, and so forth of the workings of the police department.
And have those kind of conversations had before?
I have not had them with any person directly related to the police department. On the other hand, I've never been the appropriate authority here.
But the appropriate authority reported to you. He was your subordinate.
Correct?
And did anyone go around that appropriate authority?
I do not know.
Yes, you do know.
Okay.
I'm ready to vote. I make a motion that we pass the ordinance.
Second.
Committeeman Lavender.
Yes.
Committeewoman Riker Align.
Can I just camp on this for a minute? Like, I actually think we should just table this and rectify the situation.
At this point in time, there is a motion and there's a second, so you can abstain. You can, yes, no, abstain.
You can come back to her if you want, because we know how everybody else is going to vote.
No, I flip-flopped. No, I'm only kidding. I'm a no.
I'm a no. You have to
Let
wait out for
the
Diane now.
clerk go through the proper process.
Spoken like a true appropriate authority.
Oh, it's me. It's back to me.
Yes. You get paid the big bucks for it.
Oh, I missed that memo. the issue is current state, I appreciate the Jeopardy music, whoever's doing that, that's good. The issue right now is that there is technically no appropriate authority, or is,
Correct. That's correct. That's accurate.
To make your life easier, I would recommend, if you were to vote no, Jack, could we move forward with another ordinance tonight appointing Randy as appropriate authority? I do not want to leave this room without an appropriate
Yeah,
authority.
that's- Well, that
because
was
you
the other
can
piece.
introduce an ordinance by title, but it would be essentially the same language, just instead of.
No matter how any of us vote, I want to leave this room with an appropriate authority.
So if Aubrey abstains or votes no, we can make it Randy the appropriate authority and move on with this.
No.
Or if
we
she
could-
voted
we could
yes,
in-
it would-
We could introduce the ordinance to make him the appropriate.
Before
to
we
make-
start moving on with things, I think we need a vote from,
Aubrey.
yes.
well, we were just trying to figure out what are all the scenarios, either way, at this juncture. based
You
on
understand what
everything
you're
we've
voting
heard.
for. You're voting to do this until the end of the year.
There's not supposed to be any discussion when there's a vote going on, so.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
Good to know.
Sorry.
Good to know.
You got a record going here.
Would you please control this meeting?
I would like to motion, I would like to motion that Megan is the appropriate authority.
If she's available, she's here all day.
I think we had a consensus in the audience, Megan.
Isn't there or?
No.
I thought if
Aubrey?
it took so long, it's an automatic no.
What?
I'm making it up.
That's what we tend to do here.
Was that a jab at me?
No.
No.
Because you looked at me
Motion, there's a second, and we're in a
disrespectfully, and you
roll call vote.
said that's what we
Aubrey,
tend to do here.
please.
I'm not going
I-
to accept any public jabs.
Aubrey, do you want my lucky coin?
That's, you know what you can do with that?
No, I don't.
Coin? I hear that there is opportunity to clarify in this vote, and I know we do need to figure out the appropriate authority. I'm going to abstain because I have clarity things that I want to add to this that I'm going to go over with Jack.
All right, but since you abstained,
Reza.
she's abstained.
She's abstaining.
Which means the ordinance does not pass.
Vic, you have to vote.
I'm a no.
I'm a no.
All right.
Mayor Dorsey.
No, of course.
No. All right, so correct me if I'm wrong.
I apologize, I didn't.
It
take your
fails.
vote. Deputy Mayor Paserchia.
I voted yes. So, but at 2-2 abstain, it fails.
Now,
Correct.
Can I make a motion now that we make Randy Barr the administrator then?
I don't think we can because as it currently stands in the ordinance, in the code book, it is the public safety director.
That's
I-
why, I think we need to introduce an ordinance by title only tonight. If you want to do that, it would be an ordinance concerning police department discipline procedures, naming the township administrator as the appropriate authority, and supplementing and amending Chapter 2 of the Township Code entitled Administration. So it would be introduction of an ordinance tonight, which would have a public
And with the
hearing.
explicit understanding in public, please, 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 all of us, I won't point fingers, none of us go around the appropriate authority to the police department. No conversations, none.
And I would like to add in, based on the concerns we've heard tonight, both out there as well as up here, that there is, again, reiterated clarity, and if it needs to be written in the ordinance or whatever that is, that the actions Randy is taking based on his decisions, but as well as the policies that this unit is putting in place, we're clear in terms of how and when those are being executed as a unit and not one-off. Because that was part of my concern in terms of supporting the appropriate authority being the two members of the township committee, is because in my limited time here, I have seen some situations, and
You just misstated something.
I did.
You did. It wasn't the two members of the township
Oh,
committee.
no,
It was
I
the
was saying, that's
township
why I was
committee.
saying I was for yes. So I was for that clarity, and the reason I'm abstaining is because I do feel we need to go back and clarify it even more. Even if Randy's going forward as the appropriate authority, we need to clarify so everybody out there is clear, and also up here as well as Randy is clear, because I don't feel like it's operating that way right now, based on my experience. And it might feel different for some people. It's a little bit, you'd like to have that clarity and to have, like, we're not necessarily proceeding the way we've always proceeded. And I think we need to clarify that.
All right.
So Jack doesn't know what his direction is right now.
Are we introducing an ordinance?
Sit
I
with
think
me.
we're introducing an ordinance.
Okay.
Introducing an ordinance, whatever you said.
And I'll read the title again, and then we need a motion and a second and a roll call vote. An ordinance concerning police department disciplinary procedures, naming the township administrator as the appropriate authority, and supplementing and amending Chapter 2 of the Township Code entitled Administration.
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Lavender.
Yes.
Committeewoman Riker Align.
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Paserchia.
Yes.
Mayor Dorsey.
Yes.
And second reading will be when? The next
The
meeting?
next meeting, which is the 26th.
26th.
Thank you. All right. What do we have left on the agenda?
Consent agenda, basically.
Oh, yeah. Is there anything on consent agenda needs to be pulled out for more discussion? Is there anybody needs to abstain from anything?
Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank
Thank you, everybody.
Is there anything that needs to be pulled out or abstentions?
I got a 3-page,
Can we just get off the website at this point? Can we bypass some of that?
What?
I have a
Some of the committee
3-page
reports.
liaison
I don't
report.
care.
Or
I don't
these,
want-
like, can we get it off the?
You can say whatever you want. You don't need to say anything. All right.
I don't see anything.
No, all right, a motion to, oh, and just one thing on here about the event license. Because the meeting was canceled, we had Jack did a vote, found a way to do it because we wanted to get the crescent moon up prior to Ramadan starting, so that's why we did Jack can explain it more. We agreed.
We did it administratively,
Yes.
but we
Yes.
do have to approve it.
Approve it today, but the reason why we put it up before this is because we wanted Mr. Begg to be able to get it up there in time for Ramadan, which was sundown last Friday. So that's why it was done administratively, but we're queuing it up today to make it official.
May I just make one comment, Mayor, about Resolution 91,
What's that?
authorizing a new lease with New Jersey Transit?
Yes.
I just got the revised lease today, but this has been dragging on for so long. I recommend that you adopt that resolution and you add to it, it's subject to the approval of the township administrator and the township attorney, and also
That's not what we were talking about before.
authorize me to start preparing bid specifications to go out to bid on the sublease.
I have no issue with that. And just so the public knows, Jack has been on, we've all seen numerous emails. Jack's been on New Jersey Transit for well over a month, probably a year.
Decades.
Yeah, to get this lease. So believe me, it's not for lack of effort on our side. It's constantly reminding them and asking them for an update. So, yeah, I have no issue with that. Does anybody have an issue with Jack starting to draft up a bid proposal or anything?
Which I'll bring to the next meeting for discussion.
Nope. All right. So motion to move all these consent resolutions.
So moved.
Second.
Committeeman Lavender.
Yes.
Committeewoman Riker Align.
Yes.
Committeeman Verleza.
Yes.
Deputy
Yes.
Mayor Paserchia. Mayor Dorsey.
Yes. All right. What do we want? Liaison reports?
Can I just build, can I ask a question, or like, I don't know if you
Yeah.
like support it here, but the Turtle Rock Park,
That's be new business, you mean?
I guess, would it be?
Yes.
Okay, then I'll go to there.
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So what do we have? Committee reports.
Okay, good, I have a question.
You can report as much or as little as you want. So go ahead. Vic, you want to start?
I don't mind, but can I borrow someone's readers?
You want me to do it?
have readers.
Mine aren't going to
The
help
rec
you.
update,
Aubrey,
let's
go.
go.
You're
I was
first.
all
Go.
excited to do it.
It's all right, well, it's too bad. You can't see.
All right,
Would you
Aubrey,
want me
go.
to read it to you? With several days of slightly warmer temperatures and no snow recently, spring fever
Paraphrase.
has sprung. Activities in the park have increased. The new playground is getting lots of visitors. We're super happy about that. It's nice to see all the activities. Spring sports have already begun this week with lots of activity. Boom. The Parks and Recreation Department completed a survey and it was reviewed with our Recreation Advisory Committee. It's a lot of stuff, right? The survey was emailed to 1,850 email addresses we have on file. There is some crossover between the two lists that were used, but we asked participants to only take the survey once. Approximately 10% responded. Well, that's not great. We have areas of opportunity there. Of interest, about 80% of those responding are satisfied or very satisfied with the overall quality of the Parks and Rec facilities in Long Hill. 91% of our residents regularly use our parks and facilities. Sheeshers, I can't read. I can see, but I can't read. 90% would rate park cleanliness as good/excellent. 72% of respondents, there's a typo, attended programs and events hosted by Parks and Recreation this past year, with the biggest draws being the concerts, Halloween parade, egg hunt, and summer camp. 92% rated our programs as excellent or good. 8% is fair. In terms of other programs folks would like to see offered for our youth, the four most popular suggestions included art classes, youth volleyball, theater programming, and sports programming. In terms of other programs folks would like to see offered for adults, the four most popular suggestions included pickleball, exercise programs, and gardening floral design. Most people learned about our programs by email distribution followed by the website and social media. 93% said the information was clear and easy to find. I should add on there that I really think there should be youth engagement in the town committee, but I'm just saying, giving opportunity for everyone to learn how to serve. Thank you to everyone who took the survey and let us know what they want to see in terms of programming. On the basketball front, the Saturday recreation basketball programming finished up on 3-1. Travel basketball also ended, and our 6th grade boys team coached by Joe Moran made it all the way to the semifinals after taking out the number 1 seeded team to get there. Next year, our teams will undoubtedly come back even stronger. Thank God this is not double-sided printed. As for adult open play basketball, this will continue until 5/1. Adults can still sign up to play Thursday nights at Central School, 7:30 to 9. Matt, are you watching? Were you one of our lucky families tonight in virtual bingo? Just before this meeting, lots of Long Hill families joined us for virtual bingo. 5 winning Long Hill families have special St. Patrick's Day prize packages awaiting them. Are you listening? Our winter yoga is ongoing. Yeah, there is still room if someone wants to jump in. This is a fact. Are you coaching this spring? You'll want to jump into our Rutgers Safety Clinic on Wednesday, March 19th. Don't you start too. 6:30 to 9:30. Register on Community Pass. $45 per participant. Red Cross CPR AED will take place on Friday, March 14th, 5:30 to 8:30 p.m. Register on Community Pass. I'm going to smack those two down there too. I lost my place. All Red Cross classes are held at the Long Hill First Aid Squad and done as a partnership between the Parks and Recreation Department and the First Aid Squad. Register for our spring field hockey program. Field hockey is great. By March 17th, register on Community Pass. This is for kids in grades 5 to 8 in the Watchung Hills area, and Coach Vanessa is back. Yes! You'll want to make sure you mark your calendars for the following events. Wednesday, March 26, 4 to 6, Cantor Park. Our official ribbon cutting for the new playground. Lots of fun gnome games planned, and there will be a face painter sponsored by the Long Hill Moms Club. The Long Hill Library will have a special story walk, story time with themed books, light refreshments. There's going to be a quiz. Thank you to Starbucks. Saturday, April 12th, 10 a.m. sharp, annual spring egg hunt at Cantor Park. I think I said this. Did I not say this? Peter Cottontail will visit petting zoo, pony rides, free event, children's egg hunt designated for kids 8 and under. The Long Hill Chamber of Commerce businesses will also be at the event and will sponsor an adult egg hunt. Always a lots of fun. Yes, and I did see the egg hunt very clearly on the digital sign, and I would like to say, yay, that is much more clear. That's
Love
been
that
helpful.
sign.
Don't forget to send us your photos and enter our snow sculpture contest from this past winter. It's free and open to all ages. Registration closes on Community Pass March 17th. That's St. Patrick's Day. Camper registration for summer camps will open March 15th. We are hiring now for summer camp and lifeguard positions. Get your applications in by April 1st. No fooling there. You see what you did there?
Yes.
It's good. Remember to keep our parks clean and keep a lid on Oscar. The Recreation Advisory Committee is always looking for new members, as are several other committees. Just saying. Come join in on the fun. Contact the Parks and Recreation Department to learn more about joining us. Yay.
And that concludes the Wednesday, March 12th, Recreation Liaison Report. Thank you.
Nice.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a question for Committeeman Veleza. Why are you holding your reading glasses in your hand?
No, I don't have any glasses at all.
Library update. Are we ready? Is that
Now you're on
next?
to your stuff.
Me? I don't know. Am I?
Are you the library person?
I am. Can I
Then
go? I
Yes,
didn't know.
please.
Was that a
Be quick.
question? Is that a statement? Oh. We are open 7 days a week. Photo from a busy Saturday. Oh, that's a photo from a busy Saturday. I'm getting it. We're getting it. Please find here the library's adult and kids weekly schedules of programs and events. A snapshot of February highlights. We also had 3 author talks, 2 visits to Lounsbury Meadow, which I might not be saying right, 1 in-person mindfulness class, and more. Our littlest readers are welcome to daily story times, alphabet story times every morning at 10:30. Building fairy gnome houses at the library on Saturdays all month. How cool is that? Some left their fairy houses at the library in the hopes that fairies will leave them treasures. Spoiler alert, treasures have been left! Exclamation point. Pop-up event, fun math activities to celebrate Pi Day, March 14th, starting at 3:14 p.m. Also saw what she did there. Silent Book Club at 10 a.m. Come read whatever you want. Think of it as a gift of time. Thanks to Starbucks for hosting. Local author and educator will read from her new book about Ramadan, Tuesday, March 18th at 4 p.m. Annual event celebrating making things and local talent. The Gates Avenue Knitters will teach knitting lessons at the library. Saturday, March 22nd, 10 to 2. Supplies provided, all ages welcome. How awesome is that? There's some really good programming that everybody should take advantage of. And they do it like Zoom and in person. It's really good. Last week there was a gardening thing. There was like bingo today. There's lots of stuff going on. Do I need to keep going?
Are you done?
Can I talk about other committee things?
Yes, if you have
Okay.
more.
So we were talking last time about the Board of Health and things like that. So we're trying to convene some voices that to speak to health issues that you'd want to see addressed in Long Hill if we can, or suggestions or things like that. Scott and I are trying to pull together various age groups and things like that. So if anyone wants to contribute and has opinions on health things that we can work to bring to our community, we are all ears for that and welcome to have people come in and make suggestions for that. Also with that, there is a mental health organizing group that's going together that Guy and I were a part of. It's several towns that are doing it, from Summit, Chatham, Berkeley Heights, New Providence, us, Cranford, Westfield, and there's probably others that have signed up because May is Mental Health Awareness. So if there's anyone out there that wants to help with a couple different initiatives, I would welcome the help. Guy and I would welcome the help to try and implement some of that for mental health awareness. Personally, in addition to childhood cancer advocacy, I like to advocate about mental health, and I hope that one day mental health things are addressed similarly to physical kind of health things. So I'm kind of trying to push that a bit, but I think it's really a nice collaboration across towns to bring awareness to that. So if someone wants to help, we would welcome things for that.
Well,
Do you wanna
well
help?
said, Aubrey. And we missed the meeting.
Tonight, because it overlapped with this, but
Tonight
I
was the meeting,
wrote
yeah.
a bunch of things. So would love other ideas for what we could do, so.
Tom John, still from Long Hill. You have an initiative called A Way Out that was started, and my wife and myself are part of that.
Okay.
So if we can include that,
I love
because we're
that.
only
No,
a
that'd be
town of
great.
8,000, so like just bring all of that under one umbrella.
Perfect, because we had actually, thank you for bringing that up, because I think it's a great thing. At the reorganization
We brought that up
earlier this
when we
year,
did
we
it.
brought that up, and it hasn't, but I love it's already there, it's
Yeah.
existing,
Yep.
let's do it.
They
let's
brought
work-
it to
and
us, by
let's
the
bring
way.
it
They
back.
knew about it.
Yeah.
The other towns
Yeah.
knew about it.
So it'd be nice to kind of
No, I think it's
reinvigorate that again.
No, I think it's great. I've actually talked to Lisa because there might be some things we can do even with the rec, in terms of bringing that mental health. So there's a lot of different ideas. Other towns have done it,
Yep.
so we're kind of building off of what they've already done and adding to it. So would love
We don't
that.
have to wait for October when that's like mental health awareness.
But we
start doing
can.
things now.
So exactly. So
Okay.
like they do for May, and then because it's a thing. It's
Thanks,
a thing.
Tom.
No,
Thanks,
I love that.
Tom.
Thank you. And I think, and the other thing I'm working with Megan, I know before I actually took my role here, I wanted to do a community engagement group as well as a youth group. So I have proposals out there to kind of start both of those. I'm actually kind of thinking of merging them into one thing. So stay tuned for that, because I think it's important to inspire our youth to speak up, but also have voices from the community that might not be able to come to meetings like this to get the feedback and insights of things that we could be doing for our town together. So those are things for mine. I'll stop now.
Thank you. Got
You're
it.
welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, First Aid Squad, I can remember what it is. Last year was just shy of 700 calls. In the month of January, 63. The month of February, 56. It's uncanny. It stays right on target, roughly 2 a day, sometimes 5, sometimes none. But they generally do 2 a day. They are fully volunteer, so if you are in a position to do so, even though it's not their fundraising drive at the moment, they will gladly accept donations throughout the year. And the captain, Captain Bob English, he pointed out, we are prepared to assist any patients or families that may be experiencing critical March Madness episodes. I think we had one a little bit earlier. I see a fellow Spider out there when they blew the game at the end. So that didn't work out too well for me. So please, support your First Aid Squad, and they continue to do a great job. Scott. Sorry, that was your job,
No, that's
Matt.
fine. If you're done, that's going that way anyway.
Keep it moving.
So
Team
planning
effort.
board, the ordinance review project continues to go on with Tom Jones' leadership. Tom has put together a process where he has ordinance review worksheets that go out to all the planning board members so they can comment on this and basically create a pipeline of all these ordinances that have to be changed and updated according to the master plan. So I think, Tom, the first couple of ordinances are probably going to be ready within the next meeting or two, this meeting?
Thank you, Committeeman Lavender. Yeah, so in the pipeline, we're going to be bringing up zones. A lot of this stuff is recommendations out of the master plan, so we're going to be dealing with a lot of zones renaming. There's the churches, which is a very broad statement. We're going to expand on that one a little bit, give that some guide rails because it's loosely written. It doesn't cover mosque. It doesn't it doesn't even mention temples. It talks churches and stuff like that, so we want to expand on that. So we're probably looking at, you're going to get 2 ordinances coming to you at your next meeting on the 26th. I think it's fences, and it's not sheds, but there's one other one, and it's escaping me right now. But that's going to come before you, and you're going to see this pipeline of stuff that's coming, and we'll be trying to work on those between applications, when applications start coming. We're going to have fair share housing that's going to be coming around for the next iteration. We're in the process of responding to the state plan, working with Morris County to get that over the line, which is done at the end of this month. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, Mr. Mayor, if you don't mind,
No, go
Jack,
ahead.
how much can we speak to, maybe now is the time to tell the public where we are in terms of fair share, or we should hold off on that?
Well, we're in the very early stages. What we've done is we've accepted DCA's numbers, which is 102 affordable units, which can be cut down by various mechanisms, including bonuses and carryover credits from round 3. And also, I filed the declaratory judgment action, which is required by the new Affordable Housing Act, as well as the directive from the Administrative Office of the Courts. So we received no objections to our number, so that number is now established. Our next step is we have to prepare a housing element fair share plan by the end of June.
That's right.
So time is of the essence.
And that's a good thing, because I was on a call today with the league board, and about 60 towns, I think, did find a challenge.
That's correct.
So we're in a good position. We have always been cooperative, even though maybe voicing some concerns. And to Jack's point, the number of 102, we're pretty certain we'll get down to about 50, 60, somewhere in there.
Yes.
So I'd just like to highlight Mr. Hand's work on getting the state plan conversation going with Morris County and aligning with the state plan, which is 20 years since the last one was done. I think it was in 2001 or somewhere
Okay.
around that time frame.
That's great.
Yeah.
Sorry, I did cut you off.
No, it's fine.
And then,
I
Tom,
think I
you'll
covered off a lot
be at
more.
the meetings here to kind of help educate us on where the planning board's head was at on these ordinances as they come up?
Say that again?
When these ordinances come
Yes.
before us and we discuss
Yes.
them, you'll be here to help explain the planning board's position and what the
That is
thinking
correct.
was behind them.
Yeah, that's correct.
Right.
And that was the purpose of creating the worksheet, which I ran the planning board through yesterday.
Yep.
So that way, if I'm not here, or the Chairman Richardson's here, or another member is here, they can speak and provide guidance as to why and how we got to where we got to.
It's important for us to hear that so we understand how they're changing things to adhere to the master plan. Otherwise, there are so many of these things coming down the path. How many?
There's like 80 just
80
out of the
ordinances
master
that
plan.
we have to, right? And so we want to kind of move through them quickly and not reinvent the wheel every time 1 or 2 come up.
And there's also a domino effect. You touch one here, it's affecting another ordinance here. So we're trying to show that end-to-end process, as well as being as efficient as possible to address these requirements.
And please pass my thanks along to the planning board. I served 8 years or 9 maybe on the Board of Adjustment, 5
Got
on the
efficient
planning
all of a
board.
sudden.
It is tedious work, it's important work, but it's not recognized and applauded. So
Thank you
please
very
pass
much.
our thanks to them.
I'll pass that message along. Thank you.
All right. Anything else? No. I only have 2 announcements. Thank you, Sterling Fire Company, for hosting another excellent 25th annual venison dinner. It was a sellout, and as always, the food was outstanding, and all the men and women that volunteered. It was great. Thank you for all the time and effort you put in. And then they're doing a wet down for the 3 new trucks that we bought on May 31st. So then you'll have the Memorial Day parade followed by the wet down a few days later. So there'll be a lot to do in town at the end of May. That's my report. Now, administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have an update with from the police department for the month of December. A total of calls for service for the year was over 25,000 calls. For the month of December, patrol statistics for motor vehicle stops, 161. There were 159 motor vehicle warnings, 61 summonses issued. During the month of December, there were 17 motor vehicle accidents. For the month of January, the police department had 2,545 calls for service. There were 16 motor vehicle accidents. There were 147 motor vehicle stops, 155 motor vehicle warnings, 66 summonses, and 4 arrests from those. And that's all I have tonight, Mayor.
For the administrators? Okay. Wait, Lieutenant, do you have anything you need to report? Did Randy cover it for us?
In relation to like
The PD?
an update of what we're.
Yeah, do you have anything you want to report, independent of anything Randy reported just now? Like an overall update? Well, I know I'm just asking you if you want. I don't know if you have one.
Yeah, Randy,
Yes.
Randy didn't
Randy just
say
talked
that
about
we
the
should
monthly summary.
say.
Yes. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that, is what I'm saying? What? Okay. All right, just wanted to ask you while you were here. Thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor, can I just, I want to thank
Yes.
Administrator Randy Barr and Administrator Assistant Colette Armente. I think they did a great job on the sign out.
Much better the last 3 years.
Well, no, but I mean, actual, the design.
Oh, yeah.
How it matches Town Hall, I think it really fits in. I know we talked about it 2 years ago, or whenever it was.
It's been a long process.
But it's here, and tweaking of the visibility so you can
That's
read
the
it.
big thing.
I think it's going to be.
It looks better now, yeah.
It's so helpful.
And I appreciate that, Deputy Mayor. And just to add to that, yes, there will be landscaping around the sign. So please,
Didn't think of that.
we've gotten many phone calls about
How
that,
funny.
but we're just
Really?
waiting. Yes, we have. We're
That's
waiting.
good. People
Yeah, it's
notice
like
it.
people
Waiting for the
care.
weather to
That's
break. So
exciting.
yes, we're going to be doing some landscaping.
That's
But it
great.
does look good, and again, I think the call-outs for corrections, for clarity, and invisibility, like, thank you for addressing them, and it looks
Yeah,
great.
it's obviously it's something new
Process.
that we have not dealt with before. So there's going to be a little check.
I've always been a little envious driving along Valley Road, Springfield Road, that other towns have had it, and I must say, and maybe I'm being a little biased, I think our sign is by far the best.
Yep.
We
So thank
agree.
you. We agree. Well, once it has landscaping, Randy.
All right, so discussion items. There was a Lounsbury Meadow discussion item regarding the cost for all the inspections. We checked with the Jeff Heiss, our building code inspector, and he basically has been in contact with Lounsbury and the contractors, and he said don't take any action now. He wants to get a bigger scope and picture what it's going to take and how much time it's going to take for the department to inspect everything. So, Mr. Caputo, nothing's happening tonight. Sure, if you want to. Sure. Why not? 3 minutes, though.
Mr. Dorsey, I appreciate it.
No
Thank you.
problem.
And the town has been very generous over the years to us, and we appreciate that. And understand we are integral to the fair share process, and if there's anything we can do to help you meet that new number, please reach out. I just wanted to say that the request we sent in is somewhat time sensitive, only because after all these years, we've finally reached a position where our renovation of the property is ready to go. We're really ready to get shovels in the ground. We have federal, state, county funding that's all dependent on getting moving quickly. We have a contractor in place, and this is really the last stumbling block. And it seems like we've gotten trapped in the non-specificity of the local ordinance, where we're getting charged 6% of the general construction, $132,000 plus the mechanical, electrical, plumbing. The state has come back to us with, and they've said that for a job this size, which is about $4 million, they would normally expect the permits to be about $15,000. So we're about 10 times that, or 9 times that. So I don't know if there's anything I could do. The building official did reach out to me as well, and I don't want to put words in his mouth, and he said his hands are kind of tied by the ordinance. So I don't know if there's anything that could happen, but just wanted to.
No, I think that's why Mr. Heiss wanted to wait, because the email he sent to us, basically, he said that the contractor agrees to go over job costs and remove some items that might not be needed for inspection, I believe, or something. And then he's gonna work with you and the contractor to hopefully try to minimize any of the damage on your end.
Okay, so that's the plan. That's what
Well,
we
yeah,
should-
there's no decision made at all. He didn't throw out any numbers or anything.
Right.
He just said he's going to continue the conversation with you and the contractor, and hopefully, then he can at least present us with something that might back up your position or not. I don't know.
Okay. I just want to reemphasize that the 6% is a problem, even if we do cut back on the basis of our construction. So
Okay.
I don't know if there's,
Well, at this point, we have no
Yeah, I
information.
understand.
We don't have. We can't make a decision on anything. 'Cause we don't have any information to make it on, base it on. So I don't like. I'm saying the conversation is definitely not over.
Okay.
So there's no decisions been made, but we're going to wait to get input from Mr. Heiss before we come back and discuss this again. But thank you for everything you do down there, because I know the people that live
Yes.
down there really appreciate the building.
We look forward to kicking this off and having
Oh, it's going to be, it's well overdue.
some dignitaries over.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John, for
Thank
coming.
you.
All right. The next discussion item is the train station security camera. Randy, is that your department?
Yeah, as we had discussed in a previous meeting, we needed to check with New Jersey Transit to see how they would be receptive to cameras on their properties and so forth. They have sent us their okay, if you will, and actually have incorporated it into this lease agreement. So we got that today. The next step would be to engage with, if you will, a expert for the cameras, and we do have access to various companies that do that, to get their input of where cameras could be, what coverage we would have, where the server would be placed, whether it's at police headquarters or here, have New Jersey Transit be able to get access should something happen, and come back to the committee with a dollar amount.
Do we have power and network?
I think we have power at each of the train stations, because I think we have lighting at each train station, so I
Yes,
think we
lighting's
do.
definitely
I think we have power and everything. I don't think that's gonna be the issue. And we also have they can do it by towers, cell towers and so forth, so there are options without the hard wiring being needed. That's
All
what I
right.
have now.
All right. I know, Aubrey, you have something on new business you want to discuss?
Yes, for the Turtle Rock Park, let me
Yes.
find my notes, sorry.
It's on the best side.
I know you said you had updates for that too, but I was wondering, and I didn't see it, but I could have missed it, if there was like a sign that articulated the meaning of the space. So if someone saw something, it didn't seem totally random, there was some sort of verbiage that says this was designated by the Township of Long Hill, for inclusivity, respect for all, kindness, something like that, just to articulate
You mean like some
what
type
that
of
space-
sign?
Yeah, like a little plaque or something, so people would know why certain symbols are showing up there at any given time.
I don't
is
have a
not.
problem with that.
Like, if everybody thinks that's a good idea, I'm open to.
Did you say there is now?
There is not.
No.
There is not, no.
I just thought, because it was random, and I think there was a call out about one of the symbols that's up, and I'm like, oh, actually, yeah, it could seem kind of random on a public property if it's not really explained that we're doing this as, you know, like a kindness space and a diversity space and.
I would, so, I think it's a great idea. I would certainly want to discuss it with the rest of the beautification committee.
Absolutely.
Just bring it up to Colette, so she can bring it up in our next meeting, because
I would also recommend running it by Recreation and the
Yeah.
Recreation Advisory.
thank you,
Yeah,
yes.
I was just thinking of some way. And I'm
That's
gonna-
right, that's actually a park.
It's a park.
It's a park.
Yeah, that's fine.
I
was
think
just
of it as a
saying we
train
should-
station mistakenly,
No.
but it's actually a park all, by the train
Yeah,
station.
yeah, just so you
No,
know,
we have
so
some
people
great plans.
understand
This is a
why.
great time to make that suggestion. There's a lot, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but there's some, hopefully some good things going to happen over at Turtle Rock Park.
All right. Any other new or old business? Seeing none. Announcements. March 26th, 2 weeks, ribbon cutting, Cantor Playground, 4 p.m. I know Lisa's got a lot of things planned for the kids involving gnomes. Easter egg hunt, April 12th, 10 o'clock, Cantor Park. And finally, the infamous street fair, April 27th, 2025. There will be signs up. Obviously, the new legible community board outside will feature all these events. So the first one, March 26th, Cantor Park. Be there, 4 o'clock, grand opening a new playground. All right.
Mr. Mayor, can I just do
Yeah,
one
we've got the announcement. Go.
St. Vincent de Paul has a blood drive, sponsored by the Knights of Columbus, Tuesday, March 25th.
Mike.
I apologize. St. Vincent de Paul has a blood drive sponsored by the Knights of Columbus on March 25th, Tuesday, 1 to 7 p.m. On Facebook, all the pages have where you can click and schedule, or walk-ins are, of course, welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, open mic night. Limited to 3 minutes. Anybody from the public has anything to say, come on down.
Charles Arenowitz, Millington. I'll be brief tonight. I'd like each of you to do a little self-reflection tonight on this meeting. 3 things that I'd like you to look at. Am I doing what is best for the township? 2, what can I do better to serve the residents? And 3, in this self-reflection, am I truly being honest with myself? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Wow.
Thank you.
There's a lot of time left. Any other member of the public? Is there anybody online tonight at all? Okay, good.
All right.
Hello, and thank you for this opportunity to speak. As you might know, lawnmower and leaf blower season is coming up.
Before you make your comment, can you just state your name for the record, please?
Sure. I am Ryan from Gillette, Long Hill.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so soon lawnmower and leaf blower season is coming up. It would be nice if there was a way to limit the amount of noise pollution that's going to come up pretty soon. Like, it's not that bad right now, but it's bound to happen again, like it does each year. And it may improve the quality of life if there was some ways to restrict it. Like, for example, maybe not have lawnmowers or leaf blowers or whatever active on like Sundays, or perhaps limit it to a few hours, like during certain days, so people can get the mowing the lawn and all that stuff out of their system all at the same time. And it should improve the atmosphere, because like if you're just listening to the environment at any time, just like taking a walk or whatever, there's going to be some sort of noise in the background from these two things. Thank you.
No, I know we have an ordinance. Mr. Pigeon's actually looking for it as soon as you started talking. So there is an ordinance we do have that limits the times of day that they can use, like the machinery.
Pretty wide, though. I think it's like 7 to 8.
I think it's 8 a.m. it starts,
Is
not
it 8?
before 8.
Right.
Is it 7?
I think it's 7 to 8.
Is it? All right.
Sounds right, yeah.
Right?
If you want, if you give us your email, we can have Mr. Pigeon email it to you if you want, sir.
Yep. Sure.
Oh, it's all online,
It's
too.
online.
Code book is all online.
Yes.
Code book's online.
If you look on the website, they have all the township ordinances are online.
But
So-
it is a pretty wide period, and I think it's every day, right? Yeah.
Yes, I do request that.
Okay.
There may be
Well, no,
more
we can,
restrictions on
we'll
that.
answer your question.
No, we're just
Yeah.
trying to find
Of
it.
course.
Yeah. Would
Yeah,
it
we're
be
just
called
trying
a
to
leaf
find it.
blowing ordinance? I'm just trying to Google it.
No, it's like
Noise.
Noise.
Noise
Full of
ordinance.
noise.
Oh, I've looked this one up before.
Yeah, but your noise wasn't leaf blower, it was a party.
All the time.
Not just leaf blowers, the lawn mowers, the big old things they use.
Equipment.
Noise.
All right, while we're looking at that, do you have any other questions, sir?
I do not.
Okay, so hang out, we'll get you an answer.
Thank you for your patience.
Thank
You
you.
sat here the whole evening.
Yes.
Yes, it was a new
This
experience.
one. I don't know, that's what AI said? Is that a
that's
different
AI.
one? 510-223?
Operating,
think-
construction and landscaping equipment.
Hold on,
is-
make sure he can hear you. Hold on, Mr. Ryan, can you hear us? All right, go ahead.
Construction and landscaping equipment. Any tools or equipment used in construction, drilling, earth moving, excavating, or demolition work, or the operation of any gas-powered landscaping equipment, including but not limited to leaf blowers and lawn mowers, is prohibited between the hours of 8 p.m. and 7 a.m. the following day.
I want to recognize that the deputy mayor had it exactly right.
What was the
And it's
answer?
Is that Monday through Friday?
7 days a week?
7 days a
Just
week.
says, it just.
I think it's Monday through Friday, yeah.
So it's basically
No, it's
7
7 days a week.
7
No.
days a week.
Yeah.
So 8
You
p.m.
got
to
to come up to
7
the mic.
a.m. you're not allowed.
All right, so that answer, at least that,
Will the
you might
call
not
out-
be happy with it, but at least that answers your question.
But the call out would be a recommendation to narrow.
Well, the
it
follow-up
down.
question, Jack, are we constrained by any state statute, or we can make it anything we want?
Within reason.
Within reason. So we could make it 8
Yes,
8 a.m.
yes,
How about 10?
no.
You're not even up at 10.
8 a.m. is too early.
All right.
You're sleeping like a baby, you don't even hear it.
Commercial aspect, right? As a resident, if it's rain on Saturday, I'm stuck to
I mean, I don't think landscapers mostly are working on Sundays. I don't,
No, but I think
No, but residents
we
use
would be,
landlords.
residents
Of course
would be
they do.
doing it.
of course.
Tom Jones, Long Hill. I think the bigger issue is the commercial, when the landscapers are going, because if I'm working 5 days a week, I've got Saturday or Sunday to cut the lawn. And if it's raining on Saturday, then I got to cut it on Sunday. And I know there's a noise decibel. I think we have a noise decibel ordinance. So if it's and I
That's
know
almost
we dealt
impossible
with.
to enforce.
I know, but I know we
No
dealt
equipment.
with motorcycles and ATVs running. We were talking about that last year, so that was becoming an issue. I would cater more towards stopping the landscapers working on a Sunday because they got the big noisy. They come in an army and they're just knocking out. If I'm a resident cutting and leaf blowing at home, it's only for like 2 hours, and it's usually in the middle of the day. And I get what he's saying. He wants peace and quiet. We all do. But we've got chores to do as well. So, and Mother Nature doesn't always
I've always
cooperate.
thought the hours of 7 a.m. to 8 p.m., I'll say it the opposite of the way it is in the ordinance, seems a bit much.
I'm not cutting my lawn at 7 in the morning. No.
And it says the noise decibels is, our ordinance is based on the state standard for decibel.
We don't
When I
have the
look at it.
equipment to measure it.
Right, I'm done, yeah.
All right, yes, sir.
Yes, I do want to emphasize that it really may help if there's a shorter amount of time. Like, it doesn't have to be everyone mows their lawn at 7 in the morning. That's horrifying. But like maybe in the afternoon, just a few hours, and everyone,
fair.
almost everyone should have that opportunity. They can still mow their lawn for like 3 hours, and that should be enough.
But it would apply to residents and not just.
Yeah, it apply to
commercial.
everybody. Thank you, sir, for coming. It's nice to see new people here.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Agree.
new people, Mr. Liberato.
Yeah, back again. I'll keep it quick. I don't want to wear out my welcome tonight.
Right, again, good thing we're not on the 3 minutes
Yes.
cumulative.
No, there's 3 minutes now, yeah.
It's 3 minutes now, so I'll be quick.
Into it.
Just a quick point. I want to commend you on the transparency tonight for the discussion in the public. I know you wanted to have the discussion, Deputy Mayor, in the back for exec with the PBA, but I think it answered some questions, created more questions, and a robust discussion like that is good. That's government at work, I think, and it's good to have it in the open. Sometimes, like watching something get made, sometimes you have to see what happens, and what goes on back there sometimes is good for everyone to see out here. That's my takeaway on it. Second item, just food for thought to take with you when you do discuss the promotions process. My suggestion as an employer If my employees are used or have been under a certain promotion process for the past 40 years as the company's existed, and they've kind of worked and positioned themselves to follow those guidelines, and now we're going to go to a new system, which is fine if you're going to do that, but I think there should be a grace period. Personally, to move things along, I would use the Falzarano system that was in place for the past 40 years for this round of promotions right now. And then in fiscal year 26, say in 26, to give everyone time to prepare, I'm giving you a year's notice going forward. The next round of promotions will require testing so that it gives them time to get the test prep, come up with the money, rather than pulling the rug out saying, okay, we got a whole new system now. I just think in fairness, that's a balance.
It's a great call.
Old system right now, let's move it forward, get people promoted because they've worked hard. And to say, okay, well, now we're going to switch gears and go to a different system, especially if you've been here a while, it's a lot to take in. I'm not saying not do it. Just let's have a transition period. Grandfather in the old system for now. Let's get people promoted. Let's show the support for our department. And then say in 26 or 27, here's our roadmap. You got 2 years to start studying up. And then we'll work with a hybrid system from there.
Kind of like changing the rules in the middle of the game kind of
Yeah,
thing. I get what you're
just,
saying.
you know,
I think we all get what
that's-
you're saying.
That's the difficult part, is to do that. And I'm not discounting, but the old system has worked. You want to tweak it, that's fine, but tweak it in the future because you have a lot of people who worked under this system, and we've had a lot of great officers, men and women, come through under the old system. So I don't think the system's broke. And I think we have a great department, and I think the Falzarano system has worked. Let's just find a balance. Thank you.
Thank you, Frank.
Anybody else? And you have nobody logged in online? Nope. Seeing none, I'll entertain any and all motions to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Aye. Here. Thank you. Have a nice night, everybody.
Thank you.